Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Infamous Idiots.
Hello, degenerates. How you doing this evening?
Vibing, bro.
Yeah, me too, man. How have you been? Let's do a little. What have you been up to lately? How's that?
Honestly, fucking work, dude. This last 2 weeks has been kind of a little crazy because we had the pod, we had our first episode, and then we did that one. That one you guys didn't even see. But we did that one, then we did a follow-up one. We're essentially just test footage. Then we did it again, I think that Friday, if I remember correctly. And then I had to go to the wedding, then I worked, then I had overtime, and then we're back here again. So it's just been really hectic. And I also did a bunch of yard work today because the backyard was just kind of getting a little out of control. My backyard will just flare up so fast, and trying to stay ahead of the berry vines and the weeds. It can be owning a house, having a house is just there's this, if you feel I feel like I just did the backyard, in reality it was a month and a half ago, and it's just flourishing with life. I mean, I'm not even joking. There's I've gone out in there in the backyard, but this is a while ago when my light actually worked. I just need to replace the bulb. But there was a family of raccoons. I saw a family of raccoons. And they're little babies.
You kicked out a whole family?
I didn't kick them out. They just passed through.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a creek on the lower side on the other half.
That's
where most of the wildlife is.
You've told me about this creek, this infamous creek. And I've never seen it.
Dude, okay, so when you drive towards my house, if you're coming from the long side, the side that you usually come from?
Yeah.
So right as you come down, you'll see the beginning of the creek right before my turn. It's right here, and you'll see it, and it goes...
Is that what's over the fence? There's a little fence...
Are you talking about my backyard, or when you're on the road?
On the road.
Well, there's a fence that goes this way, and there's a fence that goes that way, but the creek goes all the way through, and then there's a little... I don't know what you call it, swampy type area. So that's where a majority of the wildlife was. When I first started living there in 2018, there was a bunch of coyotes over there. And I know that some of the animals kind of went missing in that area. But dogs, not even cats, dogs did.
Probably
because dogs will
right?
see them. Well, some dogs will see them and kind of oh my god, there's a dog. Because they kind of do look like dogs. Have you seen those videos?
Coyotes are cat. No, that's foxes. Never mind. Foxes are cat
foxes
dogs.
Are more like a cat kind of.
Cat dog.
Yeah.
Like a weird
They're honestly awesome. I wouldn't mind owning one.
Did you know there's a study right now being conducted that foxes are actually they're trying to be domesticated?
I did see that.
That's actually insane because I would love a pet fox.
Yeah, dude, they're super badass. I know they'll still have their wild tendencies.
Yeah,
but
every animal does though.
But as the breed will continue to go down, they'll be more and more domesticated and act more like a traditional dog / cat, because they really are a hybrid. At least from the videos that I've seen. I've never actually interacted with one personally.
Me either.
I don't even know if they're even in Oregon.
Oh, but the only interaction I've ever had with the fox is Swiper the fox from Dora the Explorer. That's it.
Okay. I haven't watched Dora.
Swiper, don't swipe it. My son.
Did you see that movie?
He's been on that.
The newest movie?
The one where they hired an extremely attractive Dora to play a minor essentially. Okay, this is one thing I hate about Hollywood, is that they'll cast obviously not high schoolers as high schoolers, and then you're just there's no fucking way. Because Sydney Sweetie in Euphoria.
If you even watch Euphoria, you can't even speak on it.
I've seen clips.
Okay,
I don't need to.
Clips doing. Okay,
and you know what? This guy, I'm gonna throw this at him so much because he talks about Game of Thrones too. But I'm in the small percentage of people that hasn't seen Euphoria. I'm okay with it. I don't need to see it. There's plenty of other.
Okay, but here's the difference, though. You can't even put Euphoria on the same level as Game of Thrones.
Yeah, because Game of Thrones is a step above.
Game of Thrones, it was like Breaking Bad, where everyone was talking about. Everyone's like, you have to watch it. You have to try it. You have to give it a shot.
That's not true, though.
Yes, it was.
Okay. The thing. Hold on. Can you agree?
In two seasons.
Can you agree, though?
And they're not going to record again until they're all 30. It's going to be ridiculous.
Dude,
It's gonna actually be ridiculous. But I mean, okay, this is what I will say about Euphoria. I'm not here to say like it's the greatest show ever or anything. It's really good and it's really well written. And I forget the main character's name, but she kills it.
Is it Zendaya's
Yeah,
character?
Zendaya. She kills it. She's the best actor on that show by
Zendaya.
far.
Okay, here's the thing though. Zendaya in any role that you put her in, she's gonna knock it out of the park.
But
she's a
what I'm
phenomenal
saying though
actress.
is that I feel like this is her best performance out of her whole career.
Really,
It's really good.
Some people would say Challengers is her best performance.
Is that the newest one?
Yeah, the one
I
where
haven't
she
seen
has,
it.
where she's like controlling those two twinks.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like my type of movie. Like I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, it exists, I guess. I'll probably never watch
I
it
do-
unless it's like somehow I'm like on an airplane and it's like one of those free movies you
So
watch.
I haven't seen it either, but I have this horrible tendency to like read the whole plot before I go
Oh
watch
my
a
god.
movie.
Okay, hold on. You don't know how annoying it is to deal with him, and he'll be like, "Yeah, I already watched the reviews. It's not a good movie." I'm like, let's watch it.
Let
Let's
it be
watch
known
it."
he wouldn't have this reaction if I never even told him with. He would have no idea if I didn't admit to him that I read the whole Wikipedia page before I go see the movie.
But see, it's like have your own interpretation of the movie.
I
Don't
can
go
do
over
both.
Hold on, no, because I'm not a believer in that. I believe if you get some indication where it's negative or good, depending on it, no, not depending on how many you've actually even seen. Going into it, you're already gonna have some kind of notion before you've seen it. That's my whole thing. That's why to me, I have no problem with watching reviews or anything after the point. But because you've already had your own interpretation of the movie and have your own thoughts, and you're just going for either better explanation or why they did certain things, or explain that. You know how many videos I've seen of ending explained.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it is necessary, but not with like every movie.
Like Inception. The fuck happened there?
Oh my god, that's a super straightforward movie. It actually is.
You know,
have
it's-
you watched it?
No.
Christopher Nolan's my favorite director.
Just
you know
fucking
what I mean?
glaze that man
Yeah, I'm
already.
just gonna
just shove it in your
glaze
mouth.
the fuck out of it.
Suck
Tenet
on his
is
balls
such a-
already.
Tenet is such an underrated movie. To me, he really like stepped up his game in terms of where his weaknesses were, like in hand-to-hand combat. So it was really, really well done.
I might have to see that then if that's what you said.
I've told you
I will be
multiple-
the judge
See,
of that.
here's the thing with Christopher Nolan that I love so much. He'll go that extra mile to be like, "Hey, there's a giant jet, and we want to crash it." And Warner Bros. Like, "Hey, you want to CGI that?" He's like, "No, let's blue the budget. Let's go."
What-
That's what happened in Tenet. They had a big, I forget what the airplane is called, but it's like the biggest airplane that you can get that's not like the Air Force One or whatever.
Okay.
And they just crashed it into a hangar. Like, it's those things, those real,
I will-
genuine things that I love.
I will say that I always enjoy Christopher Nolan's love for practical effects. I'll always say this. I think The Dark Knight Rises is like an amazing movie with amazing set pieces, and to me, I think that beginning plane sequence,
Oh, it's awesome.
it's
so awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
And fun fact, I don't think you knew this.
What's up?
A major DC character is in that plane, but you wouldn't know. Slade Wilson is the man throwing people out of the plane.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
it's like Christopher Nolan's own interpretation.
That a little bit.
Yeah, which is fun. Here's the thing with Deathstroke. Slade Wilson as a character. It's most people don't know is Deathstroke was like the basis of what Deadpool was based on. He's literally just a Deathstroke ripoff. Deadpool's real name is Wade Wilson. Deathstroke's real name is Slade Wilson. It's not like rocket science here, right?
Yeah.
But the one thing that I think that Deadpool surpasses Deathstroke in is that like Deathstroke is a fucking creep in the comic book sometimes.
Dude, I mean, he was a creep in that one.
Judas Contract?
Yeah.
Yeah, that Teen
He
Titans
was
movie.
super. I was
He
like,
grooms a freaking teenage girl to doing his bidding by just promising to being with her, and I'm like,
yeah.
that's just
I
a
really
whole
did
other
not like
level
that
of-
interpretation of.
Not at all. It
I was
doesn't
like,
work,
no.
does it? I think it should have been like a anti-Batman, where it's like he should have been a father figure, and she's trying to seek the approval of said father
I
figure.
like that so much more.
Not like him, like dude.
It
tell
really
me
turned me off.
Tell me to.
It just turned me off to the point where I'm like, do I want to watch this anymore? Like it was that bad. I'm not lying, it was that bad.
To me, it was like it's like when Batman fucked Batgirl in The Killing Joke. I hated that because that's like her father.
Yeah.
But also do you remember in the Teen Titans movie, Homegirl comes out like this is essentially a 15-year-old girl comes out in like a nightgown, trying to seduce him. You remember that? I was like, what? You know, but this has happened in a comic book. So, you know, comic book dudes are weird. That's fine.
They're into some weird shit.
Dude.
It just goes into that whole anime thing as well, bro. Dude, there's some animes where you'll think it's like gonna be, you think you know what it's gonna be, and then all of a sudden there's just a pair of tits. You're like, whoa. That escalated quickly.
I would prefer a pair of tits than grooming, to be
What I'm
fair.
saying though is that like in that sense of media, like in the comic book / anime media,
Yeah.
like it can escalate super quick to where you didn't even think it was gonna go that route.
No, I 100% agree. There's a
Like the things I've heard about the boys comics, I'm like, ooh.
dude. The boys comics are so. It's like a 13-year-old wrote them and was like, "This is edgy. This is sick."
It's like where his hair is like cut down and he's just
Yeah.
like listening to Nickelback, you know.
No, he's listening. He's listening
No,
to
I
Green
know.
Day.
You
He's
know,
listening
the
to
reason why I
Green
said
Day.
Nickelback is because I saw something on Netflix that they added. It's like a little documentary for Netflix. It was like
For
Love It-
Nickelback.
Yeah, it was like Love It or
Wow.
Hate It, and I was like, I wanted to watch that, so that's why Nickelback was on my mind.
Now, you know, I'm just thinking. You know, how you remind me is just playing in my head. This is how you remind me.
I'm not the biggest
of what I
Nickelback
really
fan,
am.
but I can respect what they do. I mean, I don't hate them as much as like other. I feel like people at that point, but what was this, like 2021 or something?
Yeah.
Where people were just like, you know what? I kind of hate Nickelback, and it's just like everyone's like, you're right, bruh. And it's just like all of a sudden everyone hated it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never really had a problem with it, but
Well, it's this general consensus of like people. If there's all of a sudden there's this sudden outraged hate for something, everyone will just jump on that train
yeah.
and just go along with it.
It kind of goes back to the toilet paper thing. Remember that? Like there was no need for a toilet paper crisis, and it just happened.
I still haven't forgiven humanity for fighting over toilet paper. This is, and then people wonder why the country gets so divided during, you know, like the presidency, like when voting comes. Like this is why we went into a whole toilet paper crisis of all things.
Yeah.
And
It's pretty absurd to like look back at it. I know a lot of people didn't have a good 2020 or 2021. I had it. I'm a gamer. Warzone came out. It was peak gaming for me. Like it was awesome. I had my money that I've saved over the years, and I just fucking took a year and a half off, and it was awesome, bro.
I remember I was really jealous of you. I was like, this motherfucker.
It was so awesome, like, because I was listening to like one of my old playlists, and I was listening. It was the music that I was listening at that time, and I was like, oh my god, it was so cool. Like I don't know, it was just such a vibe. It brought me back. I love how songs can do that, like kind of capture a moment, especially ones you haven't heard in a long time, where you don't consistently listen to, and. I was like, man, my 2020 and 2021 were awesome.
There's like love-hate moments with certain songs I feel like that anybody could have. Because maybe a certain song will bring you back to a really horrible moment in your life, and then you just kind of like... Dude.
And it sucks. It really sucks if they're a good song. Like, if it's a good song and you've had something tragic happen at that time, you're just like, I can't enjoy it like everyone gets to enjoy it. To me, right now, this song is just like, man, it reminds me of a bad time. But I love when you have a song that reminds you of a good time, and it kind of brings you back. You're like, man, life is kind of awesome.
Great,
yeah.
It's great to be alive.
Yeah. I love when I get in like those modes of just feeling good. Like that's how I feel right now. I'm like, bro, with the new pod, and we're actually doing it, bro. Before we even set this up, it felt like it took so long to get off the ground, and now we have like episodes up, and it feels like we're just know,
planning stuff out in
Yeah.
advance to make sure we have some sort of cohesive fucking narrative that we can go down, even though for the most part a lot of this is spontaneous.
Yeah, but I just love that. I don't know. It felt, it's so cool that it felt like it took so long to get here, and then now it just feels like we're in it, like we're rolling.
Lately life has been feeling like that scene in Spider-Man 2 where Tobey Maguire is like, he's not Spider-Man anymore.
Oh,
and he's just like walking down. Yeah, raindrops are falling on my head.
Yeah,
that's how life's been
banger,
feeling.
bro. That's a
dude.
banger song.
It is a great song.
It's a great. That
You
makes
ever
me
listen-
just want to watch the trilogy now.
Great trilogy.
Spider-Man 3 super underappreciated. Gang gang.
Yeah, dude. It's funny because like even the worst Spider-Man movies are nowhere near as like bad as like the worst superhero movies. I'll be honest, I prefer like Spider-Man 3.
Oh my god, talk about your experience with Fantastic Four.
Are you talking about Fan
Always laugh. dude.
Fan Four Stick? Oh my god.
Oh, I always
I
laugh.
defend the Fantastic Four movie that came out in 2015. I was so hyped for it. This was at the height of that director Josh Trank his career. Like his career
What
was
did he
taking off.
previously do?
Chronicle.
Oh, that was actually a banger.
Chronicle is one
That
of
was
the
a banger.
most
Yeah.
underappreciated. I'm gonna call it a superhero movie because it really is a superhero movie,
Yeah.
and so it had Michael B. Jordan before the height of his career. It had some other white dude. It had Dane DeHaan, you know. So it had all these great actors in it. This great premise, you know. You have
Yeah.
nothing but good things. to
No,
say about
I
Chronicle.
love Chronicle.
And so when I heard that this dude was gonna take this approach, this different approach to Fantastic Four, and have it be like these people are, they have these mutations that kind of lean into like body horror, like maybe taking the tone a bit more serious. Because at this time, The Dark Knight became such a important thing. Like everybody needed to make a superhero movie like The Dark Knight. It needed to be realistic. It needed to be grounded. It didn't really like. You know, it's not like Marvel how it is now where they embrace the comic bookness of it. They try to really put it into the real world. So it's like, that's an interesting approach to do that with Fantastic Four. And I still stand by the first teaser trailer is not bad. It gives me, if looking back on it, it gives me Interstellar vibes / like interesting superhero. Like, you know, I thought that maybe I was going to question humanity and like how far we should be willing to go in search of the truth. And this movie was just utter dog shit, dude. Like, first of all, if you are gonna make a superhero movie or something action related, at least have enjoyable action. This movie had like 2-3 minutes of action. It was ridiculous.
There was a bunch of dialogue.
Not only that, is like you have an amazing cast. You have Miles Teller. You have Michael B. Jordan, who was taking like people were like Human Torch is in black, you know, and it's like it doesn't fucking matter. Like it's a comic book character. Get over it, bro.
Yep.
And you have Kate something. Just picture
I know who you're talking about though.
a white actress that's blonde.
She was in
Kate.
Shooter.
Yeah,
Sniper or whatever it's called.
And she was also in a Hulu series where she's a teacher that seduces her student and has an affair. Yeah, I should have been that student. Anyways,
Modern kids are spoiled.
they really are. Anyways, that's a topic for another day. But dude, and like, oh man, there's nothing more infuriating than having a great cast in a movie and not taking advantage of it and underutilizing the actors,
Yeah.
making a shit movie. But I also understand that a lot of it is Suits messing with the movie. That's what a lot of it happens.
Okay.
They're like, we don't want this, we want this, we want this. And it doesn't help that a day before the release, the director tweets out, the movie that I made will not be put out. The movie that I made has heart, this and this. So this movie was just gonna bomb to begin with. And I don't know if you knew this too. They were supposed to be in like Deadpool 2 for a brief instance. The Fantastic Four.
Really?
Yeah. I think they were supposed to die a horrible death though.
I would have been so down for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well yeah.
Oh yeah, that was with Fox. That's right.
Yeah. Because at that time, Fox was still existing.
Yeah.
And
As much as they could.
yeah, and they were trying to make their own universe, and that was when Channing Tatum was supposed to be Gambit and his own solo movie.
That's right.
And that got
completely
canceled.
forgot about
and
that.
Dude, that got canceled.
Yeah. I remember New Mutants. I know that.
You remember?
I know that was. No. I'm not saying that I never watched it. I just remember like it coming out and was like, this is gonna be like the start. This is what's gonna be like leading it forward. We're going into horror, and it just never happened. I think Disney tried to salvage it, if I remember correctly. I think it is on Disney Plus.
It's on Disney
now.
Plus. They released it on like Hulu and Disney Plus because that was at the time that the merger
I never watched it.
happened.
I never watched it.
I never watched it either.
I mean, to me, other than the original X-Men movies from Fox, like to me, it's Days of Future Past is the best one that they came out with.
I don't-
in my opinion.
I think X-Men First Class is the best X-Men movie.
That's a really good. That is true. That is a really good one.
'Cause
I
do
think I
think-
just preferred the Days of Future Past just a little bit more. They're both bangers. Like to me,
They're both great
if
movies.
someone was to be like, this is a masterpiece, I'm not really gonna argue with you.
Yeah.
That's they're one of the better superhero movies.
So the director of X-Men First Class, Matthew Vaughn, was gonna do his own trilogy, because he actually was hired to direct the third one, The Last Stand. He quit though, and it only came out years later. He quit because the producers, they'll do some shady shit, and like they had this. They told Halle Berry that she was gonna be in the forefront, and that like it's gonna be. They get this dude. He literally had a fake script he gave her to get her to
wild.
sign a contract. And the director was like, when I found out that that's how they got the actress to sign false promises, and by the time you sign that dotted line, you can't back
No,
out.
yeah, you're just
So
legally obligated.
yeah, so it left such a bad taste in his mouth, and he wound up dropping out anyway.
Yeah.
And then he came back to do X-Men: The First Class.
Crazy.
Yeah, he came back to.
Because wasn't X-Men Apocalypse like the next one? After
Yeah,
that?
but that's what he was gonna do. He's like, look, I laid down groundwork for a new X-Men to do these things. He wasn't gonna do X-Men Days of Future Past as a sequel. He was gonna do like that as like the third one. I think he was gonna do something a little more contained in the second one. But you know, fucking Hollywood and how fucking they're like, no, you have to do this.
Especially at that time,
You know.
because everyone was trying to hop on. I mean, they still are trying to figure out the Marvel
Formula.
and format. Even though Marvel's going downhill a little bit, but like they're really relying on Deadpool and Wolverine. Like they're really relying on
Dude,
it.
and Blade just lost its director again.
I saw that.
It's-
I think that movie's doomed. It got announced in like 2018, something crazy, like 2019.
yeah.
Dude, it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
Like
And,
I don't know.
The Marshall Ali.
And that was great
his
acting,
lawyer.
dude.
His lawyer just came out and was like, they announced this 5 years ago, 5 to 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're not even in pre-production.
Well, dude, because
And he's like, this is the craziest experience of my entire.
Because I remember when
That's crazy for a lawyer to come out and say.
that is
dude.
crazy. Yeah, that's a fucking lawyer. He's probably seen some shit.
Yeah.
But I remember when they announced it, I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. And I finally decided to watch Moonlight. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It was one that he
Moonlight.
got.
Okay, I thought you said Moon Knight.
No,
That's
Moonlight. That movie's really good, and I watched it, and his performance in there was awesome. Like he killed it. Like he just killed it, and I was super excited. Like it got me hyped. I was like, wow, they got an actor, like a person that's willing to go that mile to like dive into the character and give it his all. And they've just been doing whatever they're doing, rewrites and new directors.
You know what they say, bro? Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a shame from his perspective because, like, I'm sure that he was super down to be that character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it would have been awesome because, like, when they first announced it, I mean, I'm just kind of spitballing, but I'm imagining he was in his early mid 40s. Now he's like close to 50. You know what I mean? And like
There's no
trying to do
point.
your own stunts or anything like that. I just don't think he'll be attached to the project any much longer.
I don't even think he should, just based off principle.
Yeah.
I think that
But
I think he should just drop out just to be like, dude, you can't have.
But
me
it
like
does
this
go
for the
back to that
background.
thing where you were just saying where they gave her a fake script. He could be in a simpler
Well, no,
situation.
dude, he is a producer. He
I know,
has
but
a lot more You have to hold on. He has a lot more creative input than any other actor has had. He came to Marvel and said, "I want to be Blade."
Oh, I
They
didn't
said
know that.
yes. He's been in charge of the last director that just left.
Yeah.
He got to sign on. He signed on. Basically, anybody that signs on the project as a director, he has to like check mark.
Okay.
So he has a lot of.
I didn't know he was
creative
being
input.
producer. I just thought because I saw something about that he got like a big signing bonus when it initially happened, and that's a big part of the reason why he's still attached to the project.
And I guess another thing is they want to set up Midnight Suns, and they're trying to do that with Blade. But I'm like, dude, don't worry about that. Maybe put tidbits of a larger universe.
Yeah.
I can understand because like a standalone Blade movie's already been done. A Blade movie that is existing in a already existed universe has never been done.
Yeah.
But at what point do you have to ask yourself, should I essentially give up a good story to tell the greater story? or should I just focus on this bit of the story and let that stand on its own? And I think that's what they need to do.
I think
it's not that hard.
Yep.
Let Blade kill vampires and
It's
have
really
a dope
not. It's
soundtrack.
really
It's
not.
not that difficult.
I think a perfect example of that is Eternals, bro. I mean, they tried to do a lot.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it didn't
I
work out in the end.
actually did not hate Eternals like a lot
You
of people
watched
did.
it,
I did.
really?
I
I'm
watched
actually
Eternals.
shocked.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it, but I just saw the reviews and was like, it just didn't seem like my type of one that I wanted to go out of my way to go see.
I mean, dude, there's a lot of non-Marvel fans that watched the Eternals and like became big fans. So
Really? So I was unaware of this. I mean, they're like, what? Wouldn't that come out like 2020, 2021?
yeah,
Yeah. So
It
I was
came out-
I was in my gaming era, so I was like,
it came out the
I
same
was
year
checked
Shang-Chi
out.
did.
Huh?
The same year that Shang-Chi came out.
Shang-Chi was awesome. I
2021.
really did like Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi is
That
probably
was
my
probably one
favorite
of the.
solo movie post Endgame.
Yep, I was. Yep, I
Personally.
totally agree.
I
It
think
was
it has
really
the
good.
best action sequences. It has such a charismatic lead.
Well, because it has a pretty simple, straightforward plot, but the action is just so good.
I feel like a lot of people don't give credit to. I have to give credit to Marvel in this one because Shang-Chi was really like a. If you go back to the comics, he was kind of it was kind of racist.
Really?
Yeah, the comics were because it's this Asian character that
Okay.
learns martial arts, right?
Yeah.
And so just based off, and you have to. This is like 70s comics and stuff, and the way that he was like drawn and stuff like that, and the way they had him be
Yeah.
isn't particularly how it would be today. So they updated it, and they made a good Mandarin. Because you remember Mandarin was supposed to be Iron Man 3?
Yeah,
And like they
did that
redeemed,
standalone
I will
thing
say
too.
they
I do
redeemed
remember that, yeah.
themselves in terms of the Mandarin. I think they created something really
Yeah.
cool. The actor that they got to play the Mandarin was phenomenal. I felt his pain. Yeah, dude. Just overall, I give it like a 9 out of 10. Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah, it was really
love it,
good.
yeah.
It was very very good. And I saw that. I was one of the. I think I've only
Few movies that you saw in theaters.
no one. Well, I was gonna say IMAX. I think that was the very like when I had seen movies in IMAX before, but now when there's a movie like when we saw Furiosa, I was like, I need to see this in IMAX. Like I have to. Like there are those certain movies that I've just decided I'm going to see it. I just I trust the director or whatever. But for some reason we saw that one in IMAX and it was awesome. Like it was super epic and I was like, wow, I really like this movie. Like it was really good. So
I bet.
but yeah. And they did tie into the Winter Soldier no, not the Winter Soldier. What was it called? Falcon and Winter Soldier. With the ring, yeah, with the Mandarin because they're in that fictional city and they're dealing with his daughter. I know that came out a while. Yeah. Now I'm talking.
Madripoor.
Yeah.
God,
And
I'm a fucking nerd. I remember that.
yeah, I was gonna. But yeah, like I did really like that one, and I wish they expanded on that. And that's one of those times where I really like when they try to do the world building, and it's not so much like in your face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I like that, like little, just like let's get it in there.
Yeah. I have something I want to get off my chest. It is a little change of topic really quickly. We will probably get back to more nerdy shit. But I'm still reeling over. Do you remember my text about Finding Nemo?
Yes, I do. I haven't seen Finding Nemo in so long, so I'm going whatever the conversation goes. I'm solely going off of memory here. If I remember correctly, I don't even think I saw Finding Dory either.
I don't really care.
Okay.
I think Finding Nemo falls into that category of movies that I don't think ever really needed a sequel. I'll even say that I don't even think The Incredibles needed a sequel. I think it was fine by itself.
But Incredibles 2 was awesome.
It was okay.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
I don't think it lived up to what I had wanted. I just think that first one is perfect. I'm
not disagreeing.
That's
at all.
also how I feel about The Godfather. I don't think that should have been a trilogy. I think that first one is perfect, and you could have just left it at that.
Were the first? So was the second one even good then for Godfather?
Godfather?
Yeah.
It was good. It
Okay.
was, dude. It's not that it
Well,
wasn't
you
good.
think it just could have just been? It could have just been done with that one. Okay. I haven't watched The Godfather, so I'm just kind of going.
like the
I'm just
ending.
asking questions. I know the third one's just stay away from.
It's fucking weird. Because there's a love interest and like they're cousins. and like their love interest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are you gonna get me to root for? I don't root for this at all.
Italians, I swear.
Yeah, I'm like, what is that? No, Italians. I'm like, what are they doing? Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I see. I haven't watched The Godfather. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just have the boys on my mind.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
I know.
But back to Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo is Disney's version of Taken. Let me tell you why. Because this whole time, first of all, let's start at the beginning, okay? And I'm gonna try and like have you guys picture this in like a realistic scenario, not in like the scenario of the ocean. First of all, the ocean's already scary. We can all agree. It is terrifying, and this movie perfectly captures why it's terrifying too. Because even my son was watching it, and he was like, "It's scary. It's scary." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, it is." First of all, his wife gets murdered along with his unborn children, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Nemo's the sole survivor. So in my head, I'm just like, yo, just imagine finding out like your pregnant wife is just, you find her dead, and you just assume your unborn child is dead, you know, and like, let's say she's pregnant with twins, and you're like, there's no way they survive, and then you find out that only one survived. Of course you're gonna hold that child dear and like want to protect it from everything, right? So you understand Marlon's point of view, like, I just want to protect my son. He's all I have in this world. The ocean is a very dark and scary place. The world is a dark and scary place, you know? And this kid is like, Dad, you just gotta let me be me. Like, you can't, you know, he just wants to venture. He wants to be a kid, but he can't. And so he wants to prove to his dad and to everyone else, like, he can do things. He has a little fin, you know, and he goes out to swim to touch the boat, remember?
Yeah.
With such sass, too. I remember he's like, don't touch that. And he's just like touching the boat. And like the balls on that kid.
Make me want to watch that.
It's a good rewatch. It's a good movie. But it's terrifying.
So was it your son's first time watching this movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was his first time watching it. And
Was he dialed in or what?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, this shit is
the
good.
ocean, because it's the ocean and it's the fishes and it's the animation. And you have to understand too, homeboy Marlon, as you know, his Nemo gets taken in front of his eyes. So you can imagine how terrifying that is as a parent. Imagine your child being taken. You're running to your child. Something happens, you get hit, and now like has stopped you completely from being able to get to him. That's fucking taken. Essentially,
that is taken.
That's taken. And then literally meets the shark, right? They're reformed sharks. I'm gonna call them reformed drug dealers, reformed drug users, because they're not eating fish, right? And then Dory hits her nose, she starts bleeding, and then all of a sudden they get reminded like why they want to eat fish. Homeboy almost gets eaten on his first on his way to look for his kid.
Yeah.
That's terrifying, first of all. And then he just goes throughout hell, travels the entire ocean, not really knowing if he can actually find his son. He's just like, I just can't stop. I can't stay still because I wouldn't be able to live with myself. You know?
Yeah.
And dude, it's insane that how dark this movie is. And there's a scene. Do you remember the scene where they get swallowed by a whale?
Is that before or after they meet up with the turtles?
After they meet up with the turtles.
Okay.
Yeah. So after they meet up with the turtles, you know, there's a bit where like, and it's actually scary. You just see the ocean and there's nothing. But like if you rewatch it and you see they're having a conversation, you see it in the background. And you're scared. You're just like, what the fuck, dude? There's something in the water. And you know, they get swallowed because they're not paying attention.
Yeah, you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just
this was like peak Pixar too.
Yeah, and oh my god, let's not even forget that when Marlon gets to Nemo, he thinks Nemo's dead because he's playing dead. I'm like, I can't imagine seeing
That'd
be
terrifying,
dude.
Terrifying.
I'm just saying.
Did you cry?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that even a question?
Yeah. No, I did. Because also, like, it's a sweet story. Because also, I think you and I can both agree, every child deserves a parent that is willing to go through hell for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really truly believe that, and I was just thinking about that concept, and it made me tear up.
Bro,
Yeah.
I did, speaking of that, you just jogged my memory. Is that there's a episode of, I know you're not, I don't know you haven't watched Bob Burgers in its entirety or whatever, or like followed up with it,
Mm-hmm.
but the latest season, watch episode 2. I think you'll kind of be like, oh my god, like the way that the episode is produced or like the direction that they go is something that I was not expecting from the show, from Bob's Burgers, and that just kind of jogged my memory. So it kind of like has that like parent son aspect to it. So since you're on that like whole kick now, I think it's
Yeah.
worth checking out.
Well, I also think that when you become a parent and you rewatch all this stuff and like like you have new
Oh,
goggles,
you see it from a new
wearing them,
lens.
and it's just insane, dude.
Yeah.
Like I told you this, ever since I became a parent, I've just become more emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll cry during a movie. I'll like, just look at it from a different point of view and just be like, oh my god, yeah. you know.
Yeah,
But yeah, dude, it's great though revisiting movies I loved as a kid
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and watching them now.
Yeah.
So we also watched Hercules.
Oh, you watch Hercules? Okay.
Yeah. And he didn't like.
So you guys just had like a big movie night.
Yeah,
movie
yeah,
day.
yeah. And he didn't like that I was singing along to it at all. He's like, no.
He's like, let him cook, bro.
Yeah. He's like, he's doing it. You know.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, man, I gotta travel the distance. You know that song?
No.
Oh my.
I don't. You're talking about Hercules, right?
Yeah.
I didn't watch Hercules.
Okay. So original Disney movies that molded me into the child I am: Hercules, Treasure Island, Treasure Planet,
That one's fire.
Treasure Planet, Tarzan,
Fire.
Monsters Inc.
Fire.
Actually, my Dumbo. I know a lot of people don't like it. I have a whole argument.
Don't watch it.
Um,
That's the flying elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I just
Yeah.
I just check out from that.
it's so sad, bro. It's such a good movie, and it's outdated, yeah. And
Didn't they do a remake?
yeah, it was shit.
Okay.
It was shit.
Uh-huh.
I didn't like it. Cause also it's the same thing with Mulan that they took out Eddie Murphy's character and I didn't
even watch
like
the
that.
newest Milan.
because in Dumbo they're four crows and they're supposed to be like they're essentially black people from back in the day,
Okay.
and a lot of people find that offensive today. But I think that they were important in the story because whether they were black or not, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
These are pivotal characters that got Dumbo to accept who he is and be proud of who he is. I think that says a lot in today's climate, especially with everything going on, right? I think that if you imagine if they had casted like Kevin Hart, God, I'm trying to think of other black comedians that would have been really good in the role as like the crows and stuff.
Mhm.
So like Kevin Hart, God, he was in Cop Out. Tracy Morgan.
Okay. Wasn't he also a new girl? Or am I thinking of a different guy?
I think of a different guy.
Okay.
Hell, he would that actor from New Girl. He would have been really good.
Shout out Coach.
Yep.
That dude was gas, bro.
So yeah, I just think there's a huge miss because a lot of people Disney didn't want to like offend, and that's what a lot of old cartoons are, right?
Yeah.
They are like really bad
stereotypes.
stereotypes.
They aged horribly.
You know, which I understand, but I think that you could have taken a negative and turned it into a positive. That's just those are just my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Personally. And Fox and the Hound. Have you ever seen Fox and the Hound?
Is that the one where they like have the spaghetti and they both?
That's Lady in the Tramp.
Oh, that's Lady in the Tramp.
Yeah.
Okay, then I don't think I watched Fox now. I wasn't like the biggest Disney kid like growing up. Like I watched like Treasure Planet, Tarzan, Lion King. I watched the Disney Channel and stuff like that.
Lion King.
But in terms of like the movies that I grew up on, like dude, I grew up on like watching Terminator and Rambo, and you know what I mean. So,
Dude,
animated movies
this
for some
was
reason
me.
I didn't like.
This
as a
was
kid.
me like at 5 and under. Those were the movies that I watched. 5 and up are completely different story. My mom had me watching
But see, my earliest
reruns
memories
of like Rambo
Yeah.
and like Lethal Weapon, any Jason Statham movie.
See, my earliest memories is like I think I'm 3 or 4, and it was a lot of Batman, just a lot of the animated series, Batman,
Batman.
and Spider-Man, exactly. Like those were like I didn't really watch movies until I was like 5. really. Just because like probably because I couldn't sit
have the
still.
attention span for
Yeah, I
it.
was always moving
Yeah.
and playing and just doing other things. So, as a kid, like growing up, like I didn't watch the most amount of animated movies. I watched more like it was like literally Batman and Spider-Man that I just watched constantly on reruns. So, and that was just like my rotation moving forward until I was like 5, and then 5 it immediately jumped to like early 80s action movies, and you know what I mean? Like that's what I grew up
Nothing
on.
like an 80s action movie, dude.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I felt like it in a weird way. It helped my development. Like understanding like consequences. Like
Action
one thing.
movies?
Well, no, not even just action movies, but just like I was telling my girl not that long ago that like I felt like playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas kind of helped me grow a little bit because I was like, oh, you can't just go around mauling
Yeah, 'cause
people
the
and
cops
doing
are gonna
exactly,
shoot
and they'll
you.
come shoot you, and you're like, oh my god, I don't want the army on me.
Yeah.
I don't want the freaking CIA on me. 'Cause,
I
like
do.
in that, like in the game, like you would get like the special forces on you.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And like as a kid, I was like, that's terrifying. I
Dude.
don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, especially
So-
Grand Theft Auto 5. They're just treating you like cops. Like the stereotypical what people think cops are today. That's what
Yeah,
cops
yeah.
are in Grand Theft Auto 5. They shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah.
It's insane.
But that's what I felt like San Andreas. Well, because the first one I played was Grand Theft Auto 3, and I do, in some weird way, I really do feel like it helped me with like realization of the world and be like, oh, that's how these work. That's why there's police.
Do you know what 2 movies did that for me?
What?
Punisher, 2004, Thomas Jane,
Banger, bro.
and Kill Bill. I watched those at a really young age, and those taught me the like consequences, and but also like the idea of like getting even never really works out.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, there's that. I'll never forget like the scene in Kill Bill where she wakes up from her coma and realizes that she doesn't have her daughter anymore in her belly, and she's just bawling.
Yeah.
And I felt that emotion as a kid. I was like, "Oh my god!" You know, I was like, "What are we
you
watching?"
make me want to rewatch it because I was like, Kill Bill is such a good movie.
So good.
Volume 1 and 2 is
God.
awesome, bro.
I prefer Volume 1.
Dude, I remember that. Like, I don't remember which one it's in, but when she gets buried alive,
Second one.
dude, that one, because
Terrified
I'm
you?
claustrophobic, and
You're
took that-
claustrophobic. You're afraid of classes. You're claustrophobic.
Is that what it is?
Claustrophobic.
Claustrophobic, whatever. I've been drinking, but like that
Beer.
it's gone.
Oh wow! Look at you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I actually, drink mine. You just let it sit there and simmer.
Oh, okay, I
and
want
go
my second
flat.
one right
And then you're like,
now.
well, I should just open a new one because this one's kind of just dead and doesn't work anymore. But anyways, I remember that scene, and it kind of just expanded that whole fear of just being trapped and took it to a whole new level from that scene. Because I was like, oh my god, because I remember she's like, boom, boom, and her knuckles are just cracking, and she like comes out of the dirt.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what you would have to do, like.
Dude, that's you know what's funny
so
is you had a
scary.
different interpretation of that scene than I did as a kid. In my head, that was like, oh, I can just get out of anything if I have the will. If I have the will.
If you have the will.
Yeah. That's
Because if they would have buried her properly, put her like 10 feet of dirt, she's not getting out of that. It's just logically it's impossible because of the amount of pressure that's coming from every side. There's a great episode on this on CSI Vegas. Came out in like 2008. It was like one of their best episodes where one of the
Is it the one where Justin Bieber gets shot?
I've never
Then I don't want to watch it.
Okay. But anyways, there's like a point where one of the CIA agents or CSI agents gets taken and he gets buried alive underground and he can't get out because it's all glass and he's like 20 feet under dirt and he can't move. It's a great episode. It's like
Does
a
he die?
No, they get him out in a really badass way.
Okay,
Actually,
cool.
it's super badass. And he did his own stunt too, which I was like mad respect, bro.
Respect to any actor that gets into a physical role and actually owns up to it. Like Bob Odenkirk, I know you don't like Nobody, but you have to respect the fact that he got really. I just think you need to rewatch that.
I think I do too. I just remember going there and just being really. I just remember being checked out. That's really all it was.
I also think that maybe you just.
I don't want to
Also,
say
you
you guys. The group that we went with, you guys all wanted to go see, and I kind of just tagged along. I had no idea really what the movie was about. Like I'd seen some things, but I just kind of tagged along.
When you rewatch it again, I want you to
If I
kind of
rewatch
like,
it.
if you rewatch it again, I want you to look at it from through lenses of like someone who's let's say you've just kind of been like, I'm holding back. I'm just holding back in my day-to-day life. I'm just holding back.
So it's like a snap.
And you're not
See,
happy.
I don't remember.
And you're not happy.
I don't remember the movie at all. Like it was just kind of forgettable to me. It was just kind of forgettable. That's why I'm like, I just don't
Weren't
remember.
weren't you like under the influence though?
I think I was. We got
You were
really
really
high
influenced.
before. Yeah. So that could have been
And
it.
anytime you're really like that and you watch, I think it
It's
depends.
like Alien Coverage. I didn't fall asleep though.
You fell asleep during nobody. That's not.
Did I?
Yeah, you did actually.
Oh, see, there you go. So that's probably why I don't remember. And I'm
There's music cues in that movie that I replay in my head still to this day.
I don't know. I got bored and I got lost. I don't know. I was all, but I can blame it on being high.
I'll tell you what. I will rewatch any movie you tell me to rewatch that I didn't like.
What movies have you? Well, okay, what's a movie? I can't even think of one that I
still
love.
haven't seen Interstellar.
That one's coming out. It's coming out in November.
Okay.
We're definitely gonna go see that. That movie's
Then I'll just wait.
awesome.
I'll just wait.
Oh yeah. Don't. We'll just. I want to go see it on IMAX. That's a movie I regret seeing. Yeah. Interstellar.
No, I'm saying like, what about Inception? That would
Oh,
be.
that
I've
one's.
never seen it.
You've never seen that one either?
I haven't seen Tenet either. I feel like you're just gonna tell me to watch a Christopher Nolan movie is what you're gonna do. That
I love
seen.
Chris. We're going back to Christopher Nolan.
But, hey,
I
dude,
love
okay.
Christopher Nolan. I think
Oppenheimer was a fucking
banger,
dude.
bro. Banger. It was so good.
So good.
It was way better than it had
A
any right to be.
movie about just where a majority of it is dialogue
It was so
shouldn't
super
have been
entertaining.
that good.
Dude,
But
'cause
he also hasn't. He fell asleep during *Inglourious Bastards*, so
I don't know why. I just can't fully get invested in that movie. But I remember when he was gonna do autobiography, that was gonna be his next movie. I was like,
you did not like it. I remember.
I was like, why are you going this
You're like,
route?
please
and
just do your own original stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
I
then
know,
it
I know.
and then I saw it and I was like, why did I question him? He's my dude.
Yeah.
He's my dude. Why did I question him? And I'm like, you know what? No matter what it is, I'm gonna watch. Because I even rewatched his featured film that came out like in the 1990.
Before Memento, right?
Yes, it's this film right before Memento. It's called The Following. It's really good. It's no, I'm not. It's a okay. Hold on. It's a black
I like it,
noir setting, and it's about a guy that just he's a writer. Hold
Black
on.
Noir is in it. You said Black Noir.
I said, see, the boys are on my mind. I love Black Noir. And he's like, so like, what's my character? Like, he's like, yeah, no, it's like, Noir, shut the fuck up.
Hold on, we'll get back. We're gonna get back to the boys. But
Yes. Okay. Let me finish what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's a noir setting.
Yeah.
So it's black and white.
Mhm.
And this is why I wanted to watch it. It's about a writer, and he's struggling to write, and he just like feels spontaneous, and he starts following people. That's why it's called
so
The
you're saying I
Following.
should follow people?
No, hold on, relax. He's just like following people to like understand what people go through in their day-to-day life.
Yeah.
'Cause he's doing it to try to help him better, get better at writing because he's been struggling, and he meets somebody or someone realizes that they've been following him, and this person happens to be a burglar. So then he starts following him and doing these tasks that are illegal, and he gets in a situation with like the mob or whatever, and it just escalates. And what I love so well about Christopher Nolan is he'll show you snippets of like the future, and it's Snapchat, and you'll be like, what the hell has happened? Like you don't know what that scene means in the moment, but you realize what it comes to later on. And the best example of this, to me, in my opinion, is Dunkirk. Dunkirk is told completely out of order, but it just works. It just works. Like it feels like a cohesive story.
Kind of like our conversations.
Yes,
Told out of
it's-
order.
Yeah,
but
it
they're
told out of
somehow still
order, but
cohesion.
it's cohesive. And
Yeah.
to me, the best. You really want to see what Christopher Nolan can do with his directing? It's Dunkirk, bro. I don't know. It shouldn't. It's another thing. It just shouldn't work.
That's another one I haven't seen actually.
It just shouldn't work, but it does. Like, we should watch it, bro, because I think you would really appreciate it. It's centered in a time that's not really explored. World War One. Like, how many movies can you watch, or even video games
Wonder
that are set in
Woman?
World War One? Huh?
Wonder Woman.
I mean, yeah, Wonder Woman is. That's one.
That's
But-
the only one I can
Yeah,
think of.
exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Everything's always. I mean, and I understand World War II is a very pivotal moment in our history. There's a lot of things. I mean, we were just talking about Godzilla, and I love that back setting or that backdrop. So I understand why a lot of movies get placed in that era.
It's aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, but I just like that he
Because
went
it's
to
a
an era that
different
was
era, and it's an
unexplored.
era that we can find out more about
Mhm.
through our knowledge of whatever happened.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more history on it, and you can literally search it up right now, and you'll get way more.
But
there's about it and documentaries about it than World War One.
But also the argument to like not having as much World War One movies is also like people forget like the World War One was the war to end all wars.
I didn't even think about 1917.
Such a good movie.
Such a good movie.
Such a good movie. Dude, I remember him and I went to go see that, and we cried.
Dude,
We cried.
it was so good, man.
Such a good
It was
movie.
Such a
If
good
you
movie.
haven't seen 1917, that became an instant classic. For me.
Yes, instant classic.
That's one of the greatest war movies of all time. Absolutely,
Awesome, bro. It had me on the edge of my seat. No one's safe in the movie. No one's safe at all, and you feel that.
Because we thought we were following someone, and then, spoiler alert, they fucking die.
Yeah, and they die, and he's just trying to be a good person, essentially, because he. I'm kind of going off my memory, but I think he lets someone survive, and they end up coming back to him. But
Yeah,
it was
something
it's
like
just
that.
such a good movie, dude, and
I forgot Benedict Cumberbatch was in
yeah,
that.
he was in that. He was the general.
Just now.
Yeah,
He was the general that read the letter.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Such a good
Fuck.
movie, bro. The whole one take. The whole movie's a one take essentially, and it's just
okay.
so
It's
well.
okay. It's good. It's not a complete one. There's
Obviously
edits,
there's cuts and
but
edits.
it's filmed
Yes.
to essentially
But still,
be
that
a
has
one-take.
so much choreography that has to go into it to just even keep it to where like if you have a cut here to pick up where that last one left off is so hard. That's so difficult to do, especially when you're doing a one take scenario and you're following people around and then trying to go back to the exact point that you were just at previously. I can't even think on the editing side how much of a headache much of a headache that was to just cohesively get it to roll together.
Speaking of hard things to do, relationships. What do you think? I don't want to like air out your dirty laundry or anything, but you are one of the people that I know that has been in a long-lasting relationship. Do you believe that there's a secret to having a long-lasting relationship? And if there is, what is that secret?
I think it really just comes down to just like knowing your partner. Really, like I know when she's mad. I know when she's sad. I know when I know those things. Like it really just comes down to me the basics, knowing when they need you, when they don't need you, because like I know there's that whole thing of like when girls say I need space and you give them space and it's not what they wanted. But to me, if this person is what they mean to you, what it should be at the end of the day, like marriage or whatever your goal, someone's individual goals are, as time goes on, they should figure out these things like their tells essentially. Like when are they happy? When are they mad? When do they need you? When do they don't need you? When like there's times when I'm like, I'll just get the vibe. I'm like, we need to go on a vacation. I know we need to go on a vacation. We need to just get away
And we
from
need to
work,
have
family,
you time.
and continue. Because one thing that I feel like people forget is like this person's your friend. They are your friend. Like you want to keep that friendship alive. You know what I mean? It's a dual thing of friendship and relationship. You know what I mean? And I think you got to go do fun things together. You know what I mean? Like that's really what it comes down to, in my opinion. Like it's just keeping things going, making sure you guys are on the same page, understanding their feelings.
So as a, would you say that you kind of have to constantly keep working in a relationship to make it work?
Well, yeah, the wheel should always be rolling, but it doesn't always need to go 100 miles an hour. You know what I mean?
Elaborate. What do you mean?
Like think of a car, right?
Okay.
Right. I used to drive a
You
manual.
lost me. Let's do a different scenario.
Well, anyways, let's do a car.
Okay.
So when I used to drive a manual, there's times when like you just go down a hill, you just put it in neutral and let it roll. You let it just kind of do its thing, and you just kind of steer. And then there's times where you need to put it in gear and put in gas on it. And I essentially feel like that's how you should treat a relationship, because there's times when you do need to slow down and just elaborate on things, and there's times where you need to speed up and take charge. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they need affection. You know what I mean? Like there's things like that. You know, sometimes it's as simple as going to dinner. Sometimes it's as simple as just sitting down and watching a movie. You know what I mean? Like it just varies, and to me that it just comes back to you knowing your partner and knowing when those things they need them essentially. You know what I mean? So
I'm in the middle of reading a book called Five Love Languages.
okay.
Just out of curiosity, it's the five love languages, the secret to a long-lasting relationship. But I was just out of sheer curiosity, just because I like to read stuff occasionally that's not in my norm, and just one of them was like words of affirmation. Constantly
Oh yes.
affirming your partner, affirming each other, and kind of. Would you say that knowing your partner's love languages is
That's super important.
okay? Can
Super
you elaborate on that?
Because my love language is touch.
Okay.
Like, I refer a lot more to
He's
touch.
been doing this a lot.
I refer a lot more to touch. Like I just, and I don't know if this is normal for normal people, but for me, I have a lot of nerves. And like my girl knows how to touch me. She knows when to touch me. You know what I mean? So,
That's actually so good.
but from her end, it's it needs to be more verbal, not so much touch. Because when it can be touch, she can be like, I kind of just need space. And like that, to me, that just goes back to knowing your partner, knowing they need it. Sometimes it could be as simple as I love you versus sometimes it needs to be like I love you with kisses.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be as simple as that, or it could be more elaborate.
I gather from a lot of what you're saying is that you are the golden retriever to the black cat.
Oh, yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And but to me, that also just goes back to you just have to find. You really have to find that person. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I went before I found her. I went through it was like relationship. You know what I mean? And then it was that one, and then things just took off. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, now this is another interesting question. What makes her the one? The one that you want to, I don't want to say put up with. But put up with?
well, yes, it is. There's you can't just. Not everything can be roses all the
Yeah,
time.
not everything is a Nicholas Sparks novel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
hard times. There's gonna be good times. You know what I mean? There's gonna be times where you fight, and it's just about getting through those things because it's like this. It's literally just an ocean. Like it's a wave. Like it's gonna be up. It's gonna be low. And when it's really low, those are the times when you guys get tested as a relationship because those are the hardest times. Whether it's something just between you or external with family. Maybe it's financial. Like there's like when I got laid off, like that was sucked. That happened in like 2022 when I was working in construction. I was making pretty good money, and then I got laid off, and then I was unemployed for 6 months, and that financial burden was on her. You know what I mean? So, and that wasn't a lack of me not trying, but it was also like going through that together is just one of those low points, and then obviously it goes back up, and right now we're at a high. You know what I mean? It's either going to continue or it's going to start dipping. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like it's rolling with the punches. That's what it is. It's literally rolling with the punches. Head movement, stick to the jab. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's really what it is.
Okay.
Be the aggressor. I try to.
I'm sorry,
I really
what?
Hold on. I really do try to get ahead of like things. You know what I mean? Like I said, I try to read her as much as I can. If I feel like we need to go on a vacation, even if it's just as simple as going to the beach, let's go to the beach tomorrow. And sometimes it is that where it just needs to be super spontaneous. They like that.
A little spontaneity is definitely needed in
yeah.
life in general, I like to think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's very interesting. Now, would you also say that one of the quote unquote keys to a long lasting relationship is having your guys' beliefs align with one another? Because I can't imagine. I'm a perpetually single person, as you already know. I've only ever really been in one serious relationship, but from what I've gathered from mine, it's if our core beliefs don't align, it's not going to work.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna work.
Whether that
They need
goes
to be
into
in line.
politics or day to day life,
It can
right?
be, dude. It can even be religion. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It can even be that.
Mhm.
Some people are gonna be super like you have to be a Christian. You know what I mean? Or I'm just not gonna do it. Or I'm waiting till marriage. You know what I mean? Like it can be.
You're like, I'm not waiting till marriage.
It could be any
Not
number
today,
of
not
those-
in today's society.
It can be any number one of those things. So it's just like, you just gotta roll with the punches, and you got to find that right person, and you need to get those questions out of the way. Like you cannot go a whole year and a half into a relationship and then be like, so like, what's your political views? Like you can't do that. And then be, or let's even go simpler. Do you or do you not want to have kids? There you go.
Yeah.
If they don't want to have kids and you're already a year and a half in, you've already wasted a year and a half of your life essentially looking for a partner when you should have gotten those questions out at, to me, the 3-month mark.
Okay. I absolutely agree with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But this has always been my hot take, maybe because, again, I'm the perpetually single one in the group, is that every experience, whether it's bad or good, is a lesson. It's not necessarily a waste of time. It's like turning that loss into a lesson.
Hold on. I guess I was more talking in terms of like if
What
you're
you really
someone,
want. Yeah,
if you're
want to
someone
settle
that's like
down.
I want to settle down
Yeah.
now, or in like X amount of time, like you have a not essentially a deadline, but you have a timeline of you're like, okay, I want kids by 30, 31. I need to find this person by that point. That's more a sense of what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, when you're freaking straight out of high school to 25, that time, dude, you're still a kid. Like, I don't care. You're still a kid. Like, you're going to be irresponsible. You're going to go out. You're going to do things. You're going to have new jobs. Like, it's just, that's the time to learn and do as many things as possible. And at that time, yeah, okay, you don't maybe need to get those questions out of the way. But if you're someone that's past that point and you're more like
Thinking about future.
like I said,
Yeah.
it goes back to kids, because kids is the one thing that has the time. It actually has a timeline. You know what I mean? So
Like, baby, if we don't get it done within this time, I gotta find a newer model.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm serious, but that's a big thing, though. You know what I mean? So, like, if you are someone that is looking to have a kid, that is something you needed immediately, not like right away, like obviously, but like I said, the 3-month mark is the best point, because you're gonna gauge where they're at, whether they're worth your time or not. That's what it comes down to.
Okay. That's interesting. Do you remember the Jigsaw special I showed you? That stand-up comedian, the way he views.
Yeah. Okay.
I never really asked you after I showed you, but what do you think of that analogy, that Jigsaw analogy? And I'll explain the analogy.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm gonna explain the analogy. So the analogy that I think, if you have Netflix, it's called Jigsaw, and it's this stand-up comedian named Daniel Sloss, and I think it's. I look back and I watch a lot of stand-up comedy, and I think it might be my personal favorite stand-up comedy special, just because I think he has this dark humor about him. He's really good, whatever. But the Jigsaw analogy is that like every jigsaw, there is 4 pieces to a puzzle. That's life, jobs, hobbies, interests, and people in your life, and things are subject to change, but you should never try and fit someone into your puzzle that clearly doesn't fit. And sometimes you may not realize it, but both people, like, I love the bit in the special where he says everyone is a complicated and complex human being as you are. And I think that's something that we all forget. I know I really, maybe because I'm self-centered, but like I really forget about that. And that's such a beautiful thing to say, because yeah, dude, you can't expect someone they're building their life and they're supposed to give something up for you. You know what I'm saying? While you're building yours, and it's okay to just admit that you guys just aren't a fit for each other's puzzles.
Yeah, but to me that just goes back to what I was saying before, is getting your goals in line.
Yeah.
Figuring out, making sure you guys are going towards the same path. You know what I mean? Like let's just say most people,
it's like your thoughts on the special.
I do not disagree at all with what he is saying. If you feel like you're take the podcast for example. Let's say she was not down for it. She's like, I don't want you going and taking my time alone, essentially, from me. But what about my feeling? This is something that I want to go do.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, she doesn't feel like that. She's in full support. But that, to me, goes back to just making sure your guys' goals and views are aligned. Because to me, that's what it goes back to. It's constant communication.
Communication.
Yeah. You also messed up.
I did it on purpose.
Yeah, oh, okay. You and your lisp. But anyways.
A lisp is a serious problem, okay? It's a serious problem.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of mean that you're making fun. Mike Tyson has a list.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this to Mike Tyson. That's for
Yeah, I
sure.
know you wouldn't. I would. He's a
But like I said, it just goes back to the same thing, and I totally agree with his analogy. But like I said, it just goes back to just being upfront. Now, obviously, there's a time and place. You shouldn't do it on the first date.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like I said, the 3
Don't
month
trauma dump on the first date.
3 month mark is a good point. To me, you're gonna get a good understanding of where they're at, where you're at, what your attraction level is at. You know what I mean? You've probably already done some things by that point, or at least I would hope so. So you know what I mean, like. But like I said, 3 month mark. That's when the real questions should start coming out. Between 3 to 6 months, in my opinion. So, yeah. Because I always think of it in like years to half years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I'm dumb. So I like having that jigsaw visual really kind of like simplifies everything for me in my chaotic mind.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, man, and it's just it's a slippery slope that.
Oh yeah. 100%. I do not envy you on being single. I don't think I don't even know if I would. Like I said, I'm saying all these things. I don't even know if I would survive in today's climate. I really don't. And also, if I didn't find the girl that I'm with now, I probably wouldn't even have this look on life. You know what I mean? I would have a completely different look. I might have. There's some alternate timeline where I'm you and you're me. You know what I mean? Essentially.
want that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I consider myself pretty lucky. So. Yeah. And obviously, I'm not the only one that's found their person. And like I said, it's a continued battle, bro, because things can change in the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm aware of that.
Like, would you still love her if she turns into a lizard?
If I'm a praying mantis. Have you seen that video where the praying mantis eats the lizard?
So you would eat her?
The praying mantis like literally eats it from its mouth first. It's kind of crazy. The badass.
So what
video.
you're telling me is you're gonna eat her?
It's gonna be my dinner. It's like, dude, it's so funny when they do things like that. They're like, "Would you still love me if I'm a puddle? No, I'm gonna step over you." What the fuck?
Bro.
What are we talking about here? These hypothetical.
Okay, I have my male versions of those.
Okay.
Like, do you still love me if you find out that I killed someone back in the day? Like, you know, like shit like that. Or like, would you still love me if I fought crime at night?
That actually goes to my thing I wanted to bring up. This is my surprise
Fighting
topic,
crime?
ladies and gentlemen, because I didn't know this. Washington, so Seattle, where we've been, it's a mutual combat state where you both can agree to fight in front of a cop. Yeah. So like, let's say we have an altercation, we're at a bar, and I'm like, you know what? I don't like your fucking glasses, bro. You're like, well, what do you want to do about that? And then there's a cop, and he's like, hey, you can't. Like, you want to fight? You want to fight? He'll be like, the cop is essentially there to be a ref.
That's so cool.
It is so cool. It's so badass.
Actually, so cool.
Hey,
That
bro,
might solve the rising gang crisis here in Oregon.
But dude, that's where you just said that vigilante. There was one. There was an actual former MMA fighter.
Yeah, his name was
I don't know.
Shut up. I know it. He had a yellow costume, yellow and black costume.
Yes. He was a
Phoenix Jones.
Yes, it was.
Phoenix Jones. There's a crackhead.
Is he? Oh damn. I did not know
Yeah,
that.
dude. Oh, dude, he turned out to be like a really horrible human being. He has like assault cases on him right now too, and shit.
That's great.
Look, this is my general consensus. Is I feel like if you're gonna fight crime, maybe don't.
So maybe
don't do it on camera.
Maybe Washington is. Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that's the reason why he was able to do that.
Yeah.
So maybe they changed the rules because of him, or they changed the law. But I saw that.
No, I think he just got caught.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know that much about him. I just saw that it was a mutual combat say, and I was like, that's actually badass.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty cool. Because there's videos of him knocking dudes out.
Yeah, he had like this whole viral fight on the internet, like Kick-Ass style.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. But I thought it was because we've been to Seattle a handful of times.
Are you saying that you want to fight me in Seattle?
Yeah. I'll fix that symptom, whatever you have in your nose.
God damn! I'll hit you so hard you don't know how to say it. No, that would be bad.
But I just thought it was super cool. I'm like,
No, I mean us fighting.
Oh,
Us fighting, that'd be really bad.
oh yeah, it would be really bad. But I think
I
just having a
think-
mutual
sorry,
combat state.
I'm leaning more into the us fighting thing.
Okay.
I think that it would be I don't know who the winner would be, but I think it would be a very grueling fight for the both of us.
Oh yeah.
I think there's no going about it that none of us would come unscathed.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
We're gonna have bruises and bumps and bleeding, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be bad.
And we're
By the
both-
end of it, your nose will be fixed, so it'll work out in the end.
yeah, maybe you'll learn how to say some words too.
I do know how to say words. I'm speaking cohesively right now, with a few beers in, so I would say that's pretty well done in my part.
And I'm almost done with mine, and you're not.
But anyways, I was gonna say my whole point on this is that I think more states should be like this. I think that's super cool. Like as long as you both agree, there's no foul play essentially.
2 beers in. All right, we're about to have this talk. And like, the reality is like, bro, it's okay to get your ass kicked. Get back up. There's nothing wrong with taking a loss, bro. Get back up. Fucking get better. Like that's all it is. That's all what life is at the end of the day. That's why I love fucking combat sports and fighting, because I think it's the actual representation of that. I think that's why Dustin Poirier. When it comes down to it, and it's not recency bias because I've definitely had time to sit on it now. I think that's why Dustin Poirier is probably my favorite fighter of all time. Because I'm looking back on his career, and we're seeing towards the tail end of a lot of people that I started following during the middle of their career, and now I'm seeing the end of their career, and I haven't really had that. You have yours.
I've had
with like Frankie, BJ Penn, GSP,
yeah.
you know.
BJ Penn was a tough one. Frank Edgar was a tough one.
You've been through the plethora of like from where it started to the evolution of it. I got to the point where it was like evolutionized already.
So
but now there's just
give him
new
a
blood
give him a
coming
little
in.
bit of timeline. It was like 2015, right? 2015 is when
2015.
I graduated.
Yeah.
And we really started to become friends.
Yeah.
And was it more 2016 when we started watching the fights?
It was during.
Okay.
It was during.
Okay. So yeah, he was like like you were there peak Conor McGregor.
Yeah, peak Conor McGregor
Yep.
height. I was there. I
Yep.
was there, and I was fucking like the casual I was.
The ultimate
I
casual, yeah.
I still consider myself a casual.
he give him credit. He quickly was like reading up on things, like learning things, and like understanding the sport in a better way.
Yeah, I would literally just come to you and like some of the grappling I just needed explained to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yo, why is he in trouble? I don't understand. Like, what
Yeah.
can he do, or what can he do to get out if he's in a bad position? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, it's just been like a
Dude,
slippery slope. And
this is another thing. Like, I've been Darce choke is one of my favorite chokes ever, and it used to be Dustin Poirier's signature. He won like 3 or 4 fights in his
at
early
featherweight, right?
yeah in his early career with Darce choke. And I've been calling for it because it's always there, because people always go for the underhook, and it's just so quick. It's essentially just an inverted arm
Why did you
triangle.
call for it? Look at what happened.
But that's what I was just gonna get to, is that I've been calling for it, and then it happens to my boy DP, and I'm like, come on, like, but that's
Dude,
fighting.
that fucking sweep was so
Yeah, it
good.
Yes, it was really good.
Oh my
The
god,
ankle
dude.
pick was it was good because Dustin Poirier was doing so well in terms of like keeping him off of him and like staying on his feet. Because we all know, I'm a huge Dustin Poirier fan, but I know his odds of winning weren't in his favor. I give him like a 30-40% chance of winning. He had to win, to me, in a grueling fight, which it was. It was a very grueling fight, and Islam gained my respect. You know what I mean? Like
Do you like
really,
him more than Khabib?
Oh yes. Dude, don't even get me started.
Okay, we're gonna get to that.
I
We're gonna
can't
get to
say it
that.
could be, but like
We're gonna get to that.
it to me, I gain a lot of respect for Islam because he had to dig deep. I mean, he got hit with some good shots, and his stand up was really good. Like there were some points where
I was
stunned.
upset, bro, because Islam's hands looked so clean.
Yeah.
And he was getting some of the better of the
of the strike,
exchanges.
yeah.
And when DP made it ugly, that's when he had the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, he's always
fucking
thrived in those
But
types
it's
of moments.
also like exactly.
Yeah.
But it's also like you're so good in one area of MMA that you have so much time to sharpen the other, and by the time it comes to show that off, people often get surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like, man, I was not. I would say, you know what I'm saying? Like,
to me, I was like, I knew his stand was better because of the Volk fight. He really set that up with the low leg kicks and then just going up high and knocking him out. I mean, who going into that fight? Who thought there was going to be a head kick knockout?
let alone from the Dagus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No one thought
Yeah,
that.
that's fair.
And that to me, I was like, okay, his striking's better, but I just thought DP's boxing was just going to be better. And it was really even. It was really even because DP has more of like a unique style in terms of blocking. Like he'll put his elbows up and deflect punches that way. And you know, I mean, even when he lost to Gaethje, he even blocked the elbow and it just didn't matter. Like there's times like that where it just doesn't matter. That's fighting. But that's why I thought DP was gonna have the advantage, and I was very surprised by his luck. So you said, so do you think he's your favorite fighter ever then?
Looking back on it, yeah.
Okay, so who was your first favorite fighter?
That I was like obsessed with, right?
Yeah, you're like, I need to watch him fight. This is my dude. I'm looking up his highlights on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, I'm seeing what Jimmy goes to type deal.
I would say that it wasn't okay. First fighter would probably definitely be Canelo, honestly.
Oh, okay.
But in terms of MMA, I think it was Jorge.
So from the Ben Askren knockout?
Yeah, because I really liked the fact that like he was again. I think like
Yeah, he was a Ben
underdogs.
Askren fan, actually.
I was.
So
I was. But I went to the other side. But I haven't left. I've been on that motherfucking side since the whole fucking the alleged Colby situation.
His clip was so funny.
Yeah, bro. Because also like
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. And like to be fair, if I run into someone that is a trained fighter, I'm gonna feel like my life is
dude.
I'm
He
gonna
just
feel
happened to get pizza at the same places. And what's wrong?
And if a guy says that it's fades on site after, and he's a trained fighter, tell me you're not gonna feel like you're not safe.
Was I not just in support of a mutual combat state?
Exactly.
That says you. If you say something to somebody, a grown ass man, and you're also a grown ass man, and you're surprised when he throws fades on you when you're in public, why are you surprised? Aren't you a professional fighter? Like what the fuck? I don't like Colby. I hate Colby so much, dude. And he didn't deserve that third title shot that he got against him.
No.
And he looked terrible.
Not at all.
He looked terrible. He looked gun shy.
No.
He had so much ring rush. It's like, bro, I get it. Dana, this is one of the few times where I'll criticize Dana. You know, I'm a pretty big fan of Dana. I think he makes great fights and what he's built the UFC to. I've been a fan since like 2007.
I hate to say it too though, but I know why they did it because at the end of
Oh,
the
it
day,
was the money.
Colby is.
Yes.
Colby is fucking cringe, but he's also the type of guy that will get headlines for no matter the dumb
Well,
fucking
to me,
shit
it just
he
goes
says.
to the Floyd model, essentially, where the people want, there's a group of people, there's a small group of people that want to see him win, and there's a big group of people that want to see him lose, get knocked out in the most brutal way possible. You know what I mean? And I mean, he had great fights with Usman. I mean, surprisingly, really good fight of the nights. I had no idea they had that in them. I was not a fan of Usman. He is one of my least favorite goats, essentially.
I don't blame
I don't even think he's a better goat than GSP. Just in terms of the quality. I mean, he didn't have as many title defenses, but in terms of the quality, because he fought Kobe twice. You know, he fought Jorge. I love Jorge, but I also understand where he was in that point of his career.
Yeah.
In the first one, if I'm not mistaken, he took it late notice.
Yeah. 7 days
You know what I mean? So it's not like he was fighting like a prime Matt Hughes in that era. Like the quality of wins.
Okay,
is
but did you
different.
see what Joe Rogan said though?
About what?
Joe Rogan was like, Jorge Masvidal is at that time is better than a prime GSP back then because the level of competition that it is today is very different.
One of the few times I'll disagree because you here's the thing. To me, I like Jorge. You know, I like Jorge. He's a very fan friendly type of style. Like he's gonna go for it. He's gonna throw down.
And he's good on the mic. Give the man some respect.
Yes, and he was good on the mic. But you're kind of throwing a little shade at GSP. Dude, this dude was not a wrestler at all. He had no background in wrestling and became one of the best mixed martial artists in wrestling ever. Like, if he wanted to take you down, he was going to take you down. And also, at that time, he was the new breed. He was, like, this is the thing is as time goes on, there's always gonna be like, wow, this is the new breed of fighters. This is what's coming up, and he was that initial new breed in like 2008 or whatever time it was. He was my first favorite fighter. So obviously, I have a little bit of bias, but I just strongly disagree with that statement very heavily. To me, just using Jorge as the example is just not the right move because Jorge was fighting during when GSP was. And I'm sorry, but there was a point where Jorge wasn't that dude. He just wasn't. I remember watching him when I thought when he had just a goatee and he was losing fights.
And his buzz cut, yeah.
He wasn't losing fights.
He wasn't Street Jesus.
Yeah, he wasn't Street Jesus. And like, I'm sorry, I can't forget that especially when someone's been consistently throughout their career fighting at the top notch.
I will say this though, in defense of Jorge, there was
I'm not Jorge. I'm more on Joe's statement.
Yeah, no, I understand, but also, I do feel like there are times in his career that, fights should not have gone to his opposition.
Oh yes.
Like, there's no way in hell that you can convince me that, AI Quinta beat him.
No, but that I
just stuff
agree.
like that. No,
I
but
agree. I agree.
Yeah, I do agree with your statement though. It's that I do think that's one of the things that makes GSP one of those rare goats because he was also able to come back after so long.
Because you also got to remember
and be a small ass middleweight.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I think you and I can agree that Michael Bisping was probably his most favorable matchup at that time, especially
going up. My only gripe with that though, and I'm not disagreeing. I would say the whole middleweight division at that point was anyone he wanted to fight was easy pickings. Anderson Silva.
You think he would have beat Yoel Romero at that time?
See, the thing with Yoel is that he would. Yoel,
I think
he's just explosive. He's super explosive, dude.
I disagree with you there. I just feel like, and we're also talking at this time, his wrestling is really into play, more than it ever was in his career. So
are you talking about GSPs or
Yoel's?
Okay.
And you forget.
But see, no, I'm not. I don't really forget. I actually just rewatched him and Whitaker. They're great fights. Don't get me wrong. And I think if even if Whitaker I think GSP would have beaten Whitaker.
Really?
I do. I really do. Just because of where GSP was at that point, just having the experience and the knowledge, I think that just would have overcome it. No, I'm not. Okay, hold on. I don't want to make it sound like I think he's going to steamroll Yoel, but I think that GSP would be. I would
have enough to win. Okay.
Yes, I think I would favor him. And that's what I'm saying, though, is in that middleweight division, at that time, there wasn't like an Alex Pereira where I'm like, hey man, I don't know, you know what I mean? Or Izzy was in there. I'm like, hey, I don't know if you're gonna win that. I just kind of pulled those fighters at that time, and the same thing as Bisping. I know Bisping was a little bit out of I put him more towards the end of the line, but like Luke Rockwood, I think he could have beat him. I think he could have beat him. Robert Whitaker, he could have beat him. And obviously, I'm saying could have. I'm not saying he would have. I just think he would have been heavily favored. That's more of what I'm trying to say. And also, we all know that it was just a grab at trying to get the 2-division champ, which he did. Respect to him. He did face some adversity. He got dropped.
And he got cut pretty bad.
Honestly, it was probably one of the best displays from Bisping on being on the bottom throwing elbows. Like, that's kind of crazy. Because that's where he was. Tony Ferguson. There you go. And
Prime Tony.
Yeah, Prime Tony. Because I recently watched.
That's another fighter, actually.
Yeah.
Like Tony Ferguson. When I was like obsessed with Tony too, I was like, "This is the guy to beat Khabib. This is the guy." You know what I'm saying?
So the fight that never happened.
And like, you know what's another fight I think we got robbed of? Like a prime Tony versus a prime Conor.
Yeah.
Like the Conor that fought. Like even Nate.
Yeah.
Versus Tony. Okay, and also I know you like Nate, but I do think a prime Tony beats Nate.
Oh, no, I don't disagree.
Prime Tony beats Nate, dude.
Here's the thing, my thing with Nate, shout out Nate, is that he's just a dog, bro. Those have always been my favorite fighters. DP, Robbie Lawler, the Diaz brothers, you can both throw them in there.
Look, you gotta put some names. You gotta put Justin Gaethje in there too. I feel like I'm more of a fan of his than you are.
Yes. Here's the thing: I like Justin Gaethje. I just feel like that every fighter he's always like when he's gone against people, I've just always.
Did you root for Chandler?
No, that one was 50-50. That one was 50-50.
Oh, that one you didn't really care. Who
No,
won.
that one I didn't care. I was like, this is gonna be a great fight, and it was.
Justin.
But I was more 50-50. But like him against DP, you know, like there's just been like I was when he fought Khabib, I was like, Justin, fucking get this shit up, please, bro. This glaze is insane.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
those. It's just with the lightweight division, it's so fucking stacked. Like there's just been fights where I'm like when he fought Charles. Like I was like I like Charles made a whole turnaround, bro. Before that point, I was like Charles is a quitter. I was one of those people. He was a quitter. I watched his fights. I remember when he first was in the UFC. You know what I mean? And I was like, this dude's a quitter. He's great on the ground, quitter though. And then he shut me the fuck up, and I became a fan. I was like, this dude has some of that time period, his title reign or him getting to the title, dude, was one of the most entertaining title reigns I think I've ever seen. It was crazy.
Yeah,
it was wild.
He's definitely. I feel like he's definitely a case for lightweight GOAT.
Oh yeah, he really.
And I
is.
consider the Justin Gaethje fight a title defense.
Yes, I do
even
too.
though he was stripped. I do think that was some bullshit too. To be
Super
honest.
stupid. And dude, to me, it goes back. I just really like the old model in which they used to weigh in. They didn't do it in the morning. They used to do it in the evening. I don't know if you remember that. But so essentially, when they used to do weigh-ins, now they do it in the morning. So it's like happening right then and there.
Okay.
As soon as you wake up, get out of bed. So you basically gotta be you gotta be like 1 to 2 pounds before you even start to weigh in. The night previous.
Really?
Yeah, because you're weighing in that morning. Unless you decide to wake up early. Now, obviously, it's gonna depend on times, like if you're in Dubai or something. But you're gonna have to wake up early and get to that point. Versus how it used to be, where it'd be later in the evening, because you know how they do the showcase now.
Yeah.
Now it's more like a little bit more preemptive and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It used to be like you weighed in and then you did your stare down, and you know I know people would be depleted. You know they'd have their Pedialyte and drink it on stage. But I like that for the fighter's sake because they have that whole night previous to be like, okay, let's get it within 4 to 5 pounds. Let's cut down that weight going into it. You know, I've cut weight very minorly when I was younger, but I understand the aspect of getting to that weight and just giving yourself more time in that day. Because when you wake up, because you got to think, when you go to bed the previous night, they're just hungry and they're already hurting. Like they've been in the sauna for who knows hours.
Yeah.
And then they go to bed and they're just miserable.
That's the one side to fighting. Not a lot of people sees the weight cuts. Like and this is definitely before my time, but you know, when I was doing my research, there was that. If you ever see, I think it was on Tough. There's a season where I think Josh Koscheck is there and helping his teammate cut weight. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And like he's even like standing at the door, making him be in there so he can cut the weight.
Yeah.
Like
I remember because that guy was
he passed out, didn't he? He passed out in there.
He passed out. He was a little. I watched that season. He was a little bit of a fibber. If it's exactly how I'm remembering it, I don't remember his name, but he was a little bit of a fibber. He kind of quit before he didn't make weight and stuff like that. He struggled. He's like a Kelvin Gastelum at this point, where it's like, bro, here's my thing with weight. It's like if you agree to that weight, you gotta be at that weight, bro. I don't care. I'm sorry. I have no.
So what do you think about?
I don't like that Kelvin Gastelum because, dude, it's not even like
That's your twin, first of all.
I know. I watched that season with Kelvin Gastelum. He was awesome. That's my favorite season of The Ultimate Fighter was Chael Sonnen and John Jones. One of the best ones. That was Uriah Hall was on that one. There was crazy knockouts. There was a bunch of characters. That's a season I think is actually worth rewatching just to kind of, go back to Tough. But I hate the whole weight cutting thing. If you agree to fight at welterweight, you had a full camp, bro. Full camp. You're a professional. And I like Kevin Gastelum. I do. But man, that shit pisses me off when and you tell the dude beforehand, you're like, I'm not making that weight. They're like, okay, let's do catch weight, 170, 176. No, it gotta be middleweight, bro. Like that's wild, dude. Because you gotta think that means
That's actually
it's so unfair because Calvin knows. I don't care. He knows I'm not making this weight. I'm gonna have tacos. I'm gonna be hydrated.
It doesn't help that he had this whole YouTube bit of missing weight with.
Yep.
KD.
I know. Yep.
KD. Yeah, that's wild. Bro.
I don't like that. And because
look, I'm out of shape right now too.
No, hold on. It has nothing to do with being out of shape.
No,
though.
no,
It has to do with being a professional.
No, I know, absolutely, I agree, and yeah, dude, that's just insane. And Dana made a good point too. He said, "Howard, look, you have Alex Pereira and Yuri saving another card on short notice again, and they're making weight.
Yep.
What is your excuse?
There's
And you can't argue against Dana. Like that's fucking facts.
I'm sorry.
Like when he
He's
says
missed the
Oscar
weight.
De La Hoya is a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's
You
missed.
kind of can't argue against the man, you know?
He's missed weight too many times. To where, like I said, I'm a fan.
Four
of his.
times.
Four times.
Four times.
You gotta cut him. I'm sorry. You have to cut him.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Four times that's not a mistake. That's enabling bad behavior. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
You
Because
should be an executive. Look at you, cutthroat.
Because man, I'm thinking about from the other guy's perspective. He's grinded. He's got. I don't know what he walks around at. You know, he could be walking out at like 190. He's cutting down that weight, getting down, and he's like, oh my god. Now I'm at like, because I think he was at like 176. The other guy, and he comes like a cool 181. You
Well,
know what I
dude,
mean?
he did get some win out of it. He got 20 or 30% of Kelvin's purse.
Yes, and
And he also got a new UFC deal, 6-fight deal.
okay. See, that's good.
So
But see that
They
that just goes back to
That's
Dana
also
being a
pretty-
good dude.
yeah.
That just, you know what I mean, taking care
Yeah.
of his dudes. That's what I'm saying. I'm a fan of Kelvin. I think you cut him. You cut him. You be cutthroat, and you make him realize what he had. Because then, he's gonna go fight at Bellator, one championship. And
Bellator doesn't exist anymore.
I swear to God, I just saw an ad for it. the
No,
other
you
day.
might be right. I think it's one of their last events, or is it that they're calling it Bellator and like have it just be a pay-per-view?
I have no idea.
No.
I remember you telling me that, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know it closed. But then I saw an ad for it the other
But
day.
PFL, I swear to God, PFL bought Bellator.
Maybe they just bought some of the
Bellator?
roster. I don't know. But that's what I'm saying though, is that like you need to cut him, let him go
Well,
fight
bro,
somewhere else.
I know that they did because some Bellator fighters, their contracts during the merger got messed up, to my understanding, and like they're not paying them certain fighters like what they should be paying. And like Dustin came out and was like, yo, like you guys gotta do them right. I remember that. I could be. I know
I
I,
really
don't
don't-
have the full story, but
I really
I have
don't know anything
tidbits.
about the Bellator situation. I haven't watched Bellator since they did like their heavyweight Grand Prix like years ago.
Well, this us talking about fighting is perfect because this goes into our next topic of conversation. What do you think are some of the greatest fights of all time, and why?
Greatest fights or greatest trilogies?
Okay, we'll go fights first, and then we'll go. Because do you have boxing trilogies or just MMA trilogies?
Just MMA trilogies.
Okay,
I only looked
so
at
we'll
MMA
do
trilogies.
fights. Then we'll
Here's
do
the thing is I've seen
trilogies,
so
and then
many
we'll do
fights.
MMA trilogies. Is that okay?
I've seen so many fights, dude.
How about this? Ones that are memorable to you.
Okay, if we're going off of memorable,
that
the
matter
most
to you the
important.
most.
Okay, here's the most important one. The most important one, and it was a grueling, amazing fight. I don't even think you've seen this fight. I think it was Henderson versus Shogun, their second fight. It was like UFC. I'm just gonna throw a number like 148, something like that. It was very early days, like 2011. It was the first card that I convinced my dad to buy. I was like, Dad, because I'd been begging him. Because I had been going to Team Quest for a minute there, and I was like, Dad, can we watch this fight? Can we watch this fight? Can we watch this fight? And this card, it was like meant to be, bro. This card was a banger.
Yeah.
I mean, the entire lineup was either great fight, submission, or a knockout. Like, it was just a banger. And the main event was a 5-round war.
Yep.
I mean, it was one of the most grueling fights I've ever seen.
Okay.
Um,
So that's the fight that.
to me, that one holds a lot of memory, memory to me, and like
Yeah, especially
hold
place in
dearly
your heart.
because it was able to capture
What
my
you
dad.
wanted.
What I want my dad to see from the sport. Because before he's like boxing, it's boxing. It's all about boxing, and he didn't like the whole grappling or it's part of not understanding it, the dirty boxing side, the Greco-Roman side. I mean, I get it. There's been fights that are just boring where they hold each other. Like that's a fact. That's happened. That's why stand-ups exist.
Just two bros loving each other.
Exactly. But that fight to me was very pivotal because it was a lot more and it also made me understand what the cards that we choose essentially. It has to be stacked. It has to be a good card. If I'm convincing my dad
3 or
to
more.
spend 50, at that time it was $50, spend $50 on a pay-per-view that I want to watch. It was more of my sport than his.
So did you have like a 3 or more rule before we?
No,
actually
that
did
was
it?
what essentially created it. Because I was like, okay, if I'm gonna get my dad to pay $50, it cannot be a boring card. It has to be a banger.
When did we come up with our 3 or more rule? Which again, if you're watching, you don't know our 3 or more rule when usually buying a UFC pay per view.
Yeah.
Not usually. It literally is
Yes.
all it is. 3 or more fights that we want to watch, we will buy the card.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're just like, I don't know. And that really started after the Cerrone and McGregor
Oh
fight.
yes, that's when it started.
Because that card was fucking boring.
Yeah, that card.
Oh
was
my
fucking-
god. That was
that's
one of the most underwhelming cards I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, it was so bad.
Other than watching the Izzy Yoel Romero fight,
Ugh.
I don't think I've ever been so underwhelmed. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
man,
very
this
boring.
is just not
That's
good,
definitely where
man.
the 3 rule got created. But at that time when I was younger, it was just like I just had to be like, this is a stacked card.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it was. And I think I had my dad buy maybe 4 that I was able to convince him. Like I said, I had to choose.
Yeah.
Like I know we got the Cain Velasquez versus Dos Santos, the second one.
The one where he won?
That one, yes, it was. Well, because the first fight was free. It was on Fox.
Yeah, because it was in
free and
Mexico
we-
City. It was like this
exactly.
whole event, if I remember
I
correctly.
know it wasn't in Mexico City. No,
Yes,
you're
it
thinking. No,
was.
I don't think it was.
When JDS fought Cain Velasquez for the first time.
No, because
I want to look this up
No,
right
I'm
now.
pretty sure Kane fought Verdum in Mexico City because I remember Kane being like super gassed and he just
You
did
might be
not.
right,
He
actually.
did not do well with the elevation, and Verdum just pieced him up. And I'm sorry, but that was the only reason why he won that fight. I do not like Verdum at all, but that was one of those cards where I got him to buy. It was either that or the third one, but there was also the Diego Sanchez versus Gilbert Melendez, which was a banger. It was such a good fight, one of the best fights ever. But it was just all about getting him to convince to buy good cards. Am I right? I am right. I knew it. I told you, Cain Velasquez. I was a big fan of Cain Velasquez in the early days, gang. But
Okay.
he fought Verdum, unfortunately, and lost.
Other fights. JDS 2?
Yeah, that was the JDS2 and JDS3. Those were ones he wanted. He was his favorite fighter was Cain Velasquez. I didn't even have to convince him essentially.
Yeah.
You know
He's
what I
like,
mean?
Cain's fighting? Okay.
Yeah, in that, like I said, it just really just came down to is it a stacked card? Let's buy it.
Okay. I mean, yeah. Let's do boxing now if you have any boxing.
For favorite fights?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the most memorable one, like that I will always fucking remember. It was a great fucking time. It was Manny Pacquiao versus Marquez Ford.
I had a feeling you were gonna say. I had a couple ideas of what you're gonna say.
Because I remember the living room was packed. Like it was just people I didn't even know were there. Like it was like for Mexican families, it's like an event.
Yeah.
It's literally a big event.
If a Mexican fighter is fighting, yeah, absolutely, it's a whole event. There's carne asada, there's beer, there's drunk uncles arguing, and then there's people that you just can't convince that is, yeah.
But it was great, and I'll never forget because it was like it almost felt like I was there because the room was loud. It was like actually electric.
And in this fight, Juan Manuel Marquez finally gets a knockout on Manny Pacquiao.
Well, they both got knocked down.
They both got knocked down prior.
I think it was 4 rounds. It was very early. It was like maybe 6 rounds.
No, dude, I
max.
swear it was like somewhere between 6, 7, or 8.
Okay, well, I remember it being kind of shortish, but I remember it being a firefight. Like it was really one of the most entertaining boxing fights I can remember. It was just a firefight. That's what it was. So I would say that's probably my favorite boxing fight. I also really liked when Miguel Cotto won the championship against Martinez. That one was very fun. That one was awesome.
Yeah, didn't he knock him out in the first round?
Or
like
he fucked him
couple
up. He
rounds?
dropped him like 4 times.
First couple rounds?
Yeah, he fucked him up. My favorite boxer of all time is Miguel Cotto.
Great boxer.
I've always loved him because he just dug with the left.
He's
jumped to the
Puerto
body.
Rican.
Yeah, he's Puerto Rican.
He's not, well, no.
I didn't say he was Mexican.
No, I know,
Oh, okay.
but what I'm trying to allude to is that Cubans are the ones that are more known for being movers, to stick and move boxers.
I'm actually not entirely sure.
Cubans aren't notorious. No, I'm telling you.
Oh, okay.
Cubans aren't notorious for like being aggressors. They're more like counter punchers and kind of like riding their bicycle, but they're really good at it, and they have really amazing footwork. I would say it's a lot similar to the Soviet style of boxing, like Bivol.
Yeah.
It's just a little more flashy when Cubans do it because they fucking like to dance and shit.
Well, to me, Bivol is more like very traditional. Like he's gonna stick to that jab. If you're starting to counter, he's gonna triple it up. You know what I mean? He might add a little left hook at the end. Like he's gonna very stay traditional. His freaking hand is plastered to his jaw. You know what I mean? Like he's very traditional, and that's where I respect the Russian fighters, man.
Dude, well, here's the thing though, is like
their discipline is a thing.
When you really study these different styles of boxing, you'll see like the little subtlety and differences. And now that I'm talking about it, I do feel like they're similar in certain ways. But I just like there's always what's the saying? You fight like a Mexican. When someone says that, we all know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
You're willing to go to war.
Yeah, exactly. You don't care how blooded you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's about this moment essentially, living up to expectations.
What are other than the ones you just listed? Other boxing fights.
So the thing is that
okay, how about this? What are the favorite our most memorable fight that you remember watching with me?
With you?
Yeah. Because I just want to include myself in this.
I remember. I don't remember which fight it was. I just remember being in my downstairs, and you were sitting next to me, and you were arguing with my dad.
Oh, that was
why was that?
Canelo Jacobs.
Yeah, that was so.
Your dad
funny.
is very stubborn.
Yeah, he does not like Canelo at all, and I love Canelo.
I felt the need to defend because when I'm a Mexican ginger. I'm like, yo, I'm pretty chill.
But yeah, that was very memorable because I was like, I'm gonna let him just go. I'm letting you off the leash essentially, and I was like, just go, because I had warned him that he doesn't like Canelo, and he was like, all right, I'm gonna have some things loaded. You know what I mean? Like he's like, I have some key bullet points essentially. Yeah. That was a great fight. Like it was a pretty. If I remember correctly, that was like when he was really starting to like utilize his head movement.
Canelo.
Yeah.
Triple G 1 or 2? 1?
Oh, I thought it was Jacobs.
Oh, Jacobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm okay. Here's the thing, though, is that because I told you he was probably like one of the fighters, probably the first fighter I really dug deep into his history and his past, is that he's kind of always had it. It has just gotten progressively better. Mm-hmm. And it's also the fact that he faced one of the best defensive boxers, if not the best defensive boxer of all time in Floyd, at 21. Yeah, when we could all agree he shouldn't have taken that fight. It is what it is.
I remember the build up to that fight. That fight was actually that was actually very memorable.
He was the one.
Yeah, the one was dude. I remember that was like peak Showtime was like doing the epilogues and doing essentially their version.
They still did them.
No, I know, but I'm saying like they really like. I remember the build up to that fight was crazy. Like they did like 5 episodes for that thing. It was crazy.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, because it was like their version of 24/7. Essentially, they're like, okay, we're gonna do all access and we're gonna go.
Yeah, exactly. And we all know what happened.
Yeah.
It was just probably it was probably one of Floyd's best performances.
Yes, I mean, it was way too early for Canelo.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that at all.
Yeah, so he's always used it because he had a fight before that, and it was Austin Trout.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I gathered, that fight seemed to have given him the confidence to be like, okay, I'm ready to fight Floyd. But those are two different animals, you know.
Because he did. Because I remember Trout at that time had a lot of hype behind him.
Yeah.
And I remember when he dropped him, like, this is one thing. My dad hates Canelo, but he was kind of a Canelo fan at that time because he essentially won it because he hated Floyd more. He hated Floyd more than he was like.
Do you think that's why? He's never forgiven Canelo.
Yeah, he's never forgiven.
He's like, you were supposed to.
Yeah, you were the one.
Oh my God, he's Obi-Wan to Anakin.
Exactly.
Like you were the chosen one.
Yeah. And now he can't respect him for any
literally anything.
He's like, he's a GOAT, bro. There's just no question about it.
He's like, oh, he unified an entire division that's never been unified within a year span. Don't respect it.
Yeah, don't respect it. It's
crazy.
Non-acknowledgeable.
That shit just happens though.
Yeah.
Honestly. But also, his career was just very interesting. But this does go back to my most memorable fights. I think Canelo Triple G 2.
Yeah,
That's the
they're
one.
true though.
I
mean,
remember
know the
watching
last
that
show
one
was
with you and
last.
and just being around the Mexicans. Should say it like that, but
we're both Mexicans.
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah, dude. And then
did we watch that at my cousin's house?
no, we watched that at someone's house that was not related to me.
Oh, okay.
But it was on Division. It was like on the street.
We
that
went
was
to like a party, right?
Yeah, we went to a party.
Okay, I remember
because we couldn't find anywhere to watch it, and I think we're like, dude, we don't have enough money to buy it.
Yeah, we did.
Or like at that time, I don't think we really did. No, we had bought some pay-per-views.
Oh, well, at that time,
No, we
Buffalo
really
was
didn't.
really showing
Yeah.
the fight.
Yeah,
That's where
yeah, yeah.
Our main source was like, we're gonna go to Wild Buffalo Wings.
Yeah.
We're gonna,
Buffalo
essentially
Wild
buy,
Wings, and
like,
then
a
they
little
stopped
platter.
showing the fucking
Yeah.
fights.
Well, in large part, probably because of us, because we buy like a little powder and be like,
Yeah.
eat a little bit and just watch the entire fight card.
I mean, to be fair, all you can do is just go get drinks and then you're fucking set.
Well,
honestly.
that's time we were underage. We couldn't even
I
get
know.
drinks. So it was literally we had to rely on a platter that was like $12
Yeah.
because we didn't have consistent jobs.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and then so Canelo Triple G2.
Mhm.
I definitely remember Diaz and McGregor.
That was very memorable.
Yeah.
The first fight was crazy. We watched that in Buffalo. I
Yeah.
remember being like, everyone was like,
Yeah,
oh, like,
yeah,
oh my
shit's
god.
crazy. That I remember watching that with the crowd. I think that's definitely what got me hooked.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yo, and dude, that's why I know, and like, I can appreciate what it takes to be an athlete in any sport and to be disciplined. Like, I respect athletes like Kobe, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady. I don't watch football or basketball, but like, it takes a grind to be good at that. And I fucking respect that. And a lot of times they are like fighters in the way that they come from tragic backgrounds and they do something with said tragedy. And that's inspirational, but to me, there's nothing like combat sports because I think it's the true testament of will, the human will. How much can it take? And man, dude, it's just because, and I think I've said this to you before. It's just like in football or basketball or any team sport, there's always one person that kind of outshines the rest, that quote unquote carries them. Like, for example, like I'll hear if a certain player is not on a team anymore, isn't like on defense in football, then they're like, oh, dude, they're gonna get washed through, type of shit. Like I'm not gonna pretend to know anything about that, but in combat sports, whether it's boxing, Muay Thai, hell, even grappling, it's on one person, and that's you. Your coaches teach you as much as they can teach you. After that, it is all on you. After that, man, it's so, man, it like you don't know what's gonna happen. It's the unknown.
Yes.
And that's what I love so much about combat sports. You don't know who's gonna win. You don't know if you're a guy, and oftentimes when you root for your favorite fighter, right? It's because there are people that take these hard challenges that they may not get through, but they're the type of people that want to get through it.
Yep.
And man, I think that's why Dustin's my favorite fighter,
I was gonna
dude.
bring it back to Dustin.
Because I'm just like, that man solidifies what I think a man should be. Him and Max Holloway are definitely like up there for me. Because I think that's how, in retrospect, like, yeah, maybe sometimes maybe fighters shouldn't be good role models, right? But we live in a day and age where. Yeah. Okay. That's a whole other conversation. That's a whole other podcast, actually. But anyways, I think that's what a man should be. When you take your losses, you take them on the chin and you learn. You get better. Every time Dustin Poirier lost, he came back and won. He's like a man that constantly isn't afraid to go through hell and is like, hey, that's a part of life. Same with Max Holloway. So, I mean, man, I can go on and on about how much I think combat sports is definitely the best.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I literally have a quote saved from Dustin. I actually plan to get this tattooed like right here.
Okay.
Because I love it.
What is it?
It's
I better not be what I think it is. Okay.
when times are good, be grateful. When times are bad, be grateful. I love that.
It's graceful.
Okay, graceful, grateful,
Okay.
whatever. But
No,
I
just
love
wanted to
it.
make sure
Yeah,
you have the
yeah.
right thing that if you want.
I'm also,
100%
my eyes
get
are
it.
a little blurry. I didn't eat anything before I drink these beers.
Oh, okay.
But I think I do have it correctly. But I love that quote, and that to me that perfectly encaptures what you were exactly saying about
Yeah.
Dustin. Just showing up to the moment, being great. Because I mean, if you look at his life, he's already won.
Yeah.
From where he came from, he already won.
He's
bro.
already won. He has a beautiful family. You know, he's a father. He's providing for his family, and they're doing well, and that's all he really ever wanted. And you know, he's proven himself as one of the best lightweights of all time. The murderer's row that man has gone through. That's a man that when I was going through his career and really learning about current MMA and where it's at, man, Dustin is he's that fighter to me. Man.
I know, dude, because I was
He's
looking
so
at his,
special.
dude,
And he's gonna get a spot on the wall. You
Yes.
better fucking believe that.
Dude,
That man is. I want a picture of him. That picture of you see the one where he's got the golden gloves on, the nose.
yeah, those was bleeding. Yep.
Fucking, that's him. I'm coining a new term and phrase in my life, and that's I got that Dustin Poirier in me. I'm not even joking, dude. That's you know, and I think his loss in many ways. This might sound weird, but hear me out. His loss to Islam still perfectly encapsulates who Dustin Poirier is, and that's not a loser. It is a man that picks himself back up regardless of circumstance. Yeah, man, that's all I have to say on that. I love that dude, bro.
Yeah, no, I agree,
he's
bro.
just
Because
a
he's
phenomenal
fought
person. Yeah.
Bro, I was looking back at some of his fights, and I was like, there was one of the fights I know. I followed Dustin's whole career.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? Like I've seen every single one of his fights, and I forgot that he fought Anthony Pettis. I know it didn't end in the best way. But man, that was a great fucking fight. It was free on Fox. It was such a good fight, and those are I love when you look back and you're like, this would have been a good match. Oh shit, it actually happened.
A lot of my favorite fights of all time include Dustin Poirier. I'm not even joking. Poirier versus Gaethje. Poirier versus Hooker.
Oh, such a bang.
Poirier versus Chandler.
Yes. Such a good fucking
my
fight.
God.
One that's underrated is when he went against the Korean Zombie. That is a banger, bro.
And he took that on a week notice.
Yeah, it was such a good fight, bro. Such a good fight.
Yeah, man. And then let's see, other great. And I don't think you've fully seen it, but when I was doing my boxing deep dive, I think my favorite boxing match of all time is Death. They're very old, but it's either Ward versus Gotti or Hagler versus Hearns. Those two fights, oh my God, if you just want to watch a fight and two men test each other's will, those fights are insane. Ward versus Gotti, it's that one where Mark Wahlberg plays him in the fight.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yep.
Yeah, again, my biggest gripe about that movie is you exclude the Ward Gotti trilogy, something that made that man actually wealthy to an extent.
Yeah.
You know, and it was at a time where he was this old fighter towards the tail end. He's a gatekeeper. That's all he's gonna be. This kid Arturo Gotti at that time was gonna be, he may have taken some losses, but this was pre-Floyd, before O's mattered in boxing. This was pre all of that. This man Arturo Gotti at that time was coming back off losses. He dialed in. He's more aggressive. He's more technical. He's not exchanging in firefights because that would get him in trouble at that time. And Ward is just known for fighting one fucking way, and that's forward. And he's got a mean left hook to the liver. Just mean left hook in general. And then the way that this fight perfectly aligned, and in some weird way, two soulmates. It sounds weird, I know, but two soulmates. Two men that were built from the same cloth collided that night. Because there's a point, a lot of his coaches would tell Arturo Gotti, you're crazy, because he would be like, I want to fight someone like me. Because he just liked to brawl.
Yeah.
He liked to fight. And then after his first fight with Ward Gotti, you know what he tells his corner?
What's up?
I found someone like me. That's insane, bro. That is insane. And then you got Hearns versus Hagler, where there's so much deep lore in the 80s boxing history, but at that time they're both coming off losses, I believe. They had both lost to Sugar Ray, and it was to the point where they felt like it was do or die. And Hagler, Dustin Poirier wore that war hat he wore?
Yeah.
That's inspired by Marvin Hagler. He's the one that did it.
Okay.
He was a mean southpaw switch hitter, bro. He was so good. He's probably my favorite of the Four Kings. But yeah, and then Tommy Hearns is the coaches that trained him. Sugar Hill, something Hill. Okay, I'm butchering it right now because I'm a little under the influence. But that's who Tyson Fury went to for the Wilder rematch. That's how he came out in the aggressive style.
Okay.
You know, it's very jab heavy too, but like tall, lanky people can throw a two, which is a cross, like in such a hard way, and they mastered that.
Mm-hmm.
And what proceeded was just 3 rounds of absolute hell, dude. Thomas Hearns broke his hand in the first round, and he still fought a grueling fight for the next 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Still cutting up Marvin Hagler, having a deep gash on his head.
Mm-hmm.
Man, violence is beautiful.
It
really is.
It really
I can
is.
talk. You see, dude, you're the passion in my voice.
It's
Like,
very passionate.
it's
about old
it's
boxing.
man, dude. Because
Shame
boxing
what
was my
boxing is
first
now.
love. Yeah, dude. It's just I call it the Floyd Mayweather effect, and I think that I think Floyd was both really good and really damaging for boxing.
I agree. I don't disagree at all.
I think that Floyd is so influential in teaching the fighter that they should take care of themselves. They shouldn't be taken advantage by the promoter. And trust yourself and trust your skills.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, like, you will get yours in that cutthroat business. But one thing that he did that really has damaged it, and I don't think it's recovered since, is that O. Like, O's matter in boxing. Like, maybe
it's kind of going down a little bit now.
Yeah,
but
maybe they do want to risk their O.
mm-hmm.
But the promoters is like, I don't want you to risk that.
they don't want to risk that out.
So,
And what's
it's
kind of
just
crazy is
this-
I feel like for most of the fan base, I feel like the O doesn't matter.
you
unless
just
you're
want, you
old-
just want
old
good
heads, I feel
fights.
like.
You just want good fights.
Maybe it's just the UFC fan in me, but I feel like a lot of the old heads are more attached to the O than newer boxing.
It's the new bloods. It's the new era. It's because these are the people that are growing up watching Floyd. These aren't the people that are watching. Because I just explained to you Arturo Gatti, right?
Yeah.
He was like expected to make a comeback, be
But
world
what I mean
champion.
by old heads is like you got to think about like people at that time, right? Floyd started in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
You got to think about people that were our age in the early 2000s. Those are what I'm talking about when I say old heads, because now you got to think they've aged by 15, 20 years. So now they're 40 years old and being like the O matters, bro. That's what I'm saying about the old heads.
I think it's just
Because
worse.
I
I
feel
think it's
like
just
my
worse in
era-
boxing.
I feel like my era doesn't like the Floyd model. Because when
Okay,
I grew
but
up, I'm only speaking from my experience because I remember growing up in high school and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone hated Floyd. Nobody wanted Floyd to win at all.
But that's because at that time he was again, that's another thing that Floyd was really good at. He was good at manipulating the masses and making you feel a certain way.
Yes.
He's the one that did it in some weird way the classiest. He didn't stoop low like Colby did. Colby's a really bad, cheap imitation of that.
Yes.
And man, dude, it's worse now. I don't know if because you don't really catch up with boxing as much as I do. And again, because I follow a lot of things and I don't know a lot. I'm not gonna pretend to, but
He knows a lot of small things and a lot of subjects.
exactly. But the O matters more. I think I agree with you when you say it's not as bad now.
Yeah.
Because we're all as a collective unit starting to just be like, we want good fights. We don't care who wins. You know, that's why Ryan Garcia's win against Devin Haney was so big, other than, you know, all the other fucking reasons. You know.
All the turnover now, and now he doesn't even have an O apparently.
I
don't know if that's official, but I saw it.
Yeah, but
It
then
is official?
hold on, yeah, but then today there's reports coming out that actually his sample that he gave post fight
Mm-hmm.
and then before the fight are negative.
Mm.
So do you see, like, now you're just like, I don't even know what the fuck to believe.
I don't
bro.
know what to believe. And to me,
So-
people can say what they want to say about Ryan Garcia. I'm not even a big fan of him.
Mhm.
Like, I think he has a relatively entertaining style.
Lately he's been saying some shit that I I wish he would just.
I'm not even really following everything.
I
he's
wish
saying.
I wish
I
he
just know
would
he's saying
chill
he's
on
not
Twitter
talking,
because he was
so.
kind of beefing with Caleb Plant. He was saying some dumb wild shit.
I
Like
didn't know that.
like being like, oh, Caleb's just mad because I hate his.
I was just more talking about
okay,
his
so
style.
you could understand how this is gonna kind of change your opinion on him. He'd be like, he tweeted at Caleb Plant, like they were going back and forth, and then he's like, Caleb Plant's just mad because something to alluding like, because I fucked your wife or some shit like that, like some Connor shit, you know?
Yeah.
With
Oh my
DP.
God.
And I can't stand that. I hate that.
I hate
I hate that. And that makes me lose respect. I mean, look, whatever. I don't give a fuck, but yeah,
I mean, it's just low hanging fruit.
Yeah,
like
you're
it's
like,
not even. It's rotten. Like it's okay. What do you want me? Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
But, like,
both
dude,
know that everyone
but-
knows that's not true.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I mean? It's just
but,
weird.
but it's also like, bro, just chill off Twitter. Like you're fine.
Yeah.
Like you have an entertaining enough style to have that speak for yourself, and I just think he's a loud personality, and I think it's the era that he grew up in. In this, he was us as the internet got bigger, and he was a celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just bound to wild out.
Yeah.
You know. So fuck, dude. I mean, I do think that it's crazy that him, like Andy Ruiz and Ryan Garcia, had a really good team in the Canelo team. And it seems like their discipline killed that.
Yeah. Andy Ruiz definitely.
But here's the thing, though, about Ryan Garcia is I will say, like, whatever, bro. Like, if he wasn't disciplined at all and you just beat the shit out of him, anything like that, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But still, man.
So do you think he did or he didn't do it? I kind of lean towards that he didn't. I know.
I feel
that,
like-
I know people can cheat at any point. in their
but we
life.
do know that they're like athletes have taken supplements.
Oh yes.
That are tainted.
Yes, 100%. And that just goes down to that's on the manufacturer side than it is on the person
Yeah,
side.
and dude, if you're training for a fucking fight, all your focus is on that fight.
That's all you think about.
And like if they just hand you a pill bottle, like if you go to GNC and you know what I'm saying, and like you get a pill bottle.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that most of the things, like especially I know China makes a lot of our stuff. They'll put things on the same rotisserie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if it's all filling down one line, and this one was just testosterone boosters or something, then the next one's just like pH. You know what I mean? Like they're going down the same tube and travel distance, and they just get little microdoses essentially, and that's not his fault that it's tainted.
Yeah.
Now, do I think he did it? I tend to lean that he didn't.
I don't know.
I
don't fucking know.
I hate to like choose the age, but just the age that he's at right now, he's in his prime. To me, when cheating more occurs is when they're like towards the end of their career. Now I know people can cheat at any given time, but to me, I just lean towards more like. I tend to just give him a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt, I guess, just because of the age. Like there's been people, and I mean, I started watching UFC in the early days. Everyone was on the sauce because it's just an advantage. It really is. It's an advantage. I mean, Uberim was a perfect example of that. That was like 2015 maybe. Yeah. Or that was actually earlier. But yeah, he was on the sauce. This dude was fucking jacked. If you look at him now, he's like 180 pounds.
and to an extent, and I'm not condoning it because I see.
I actually want to talk.
What?
There's a new thing that's coming out. It's supposed to challenge the Olympic. It's called the Enhanced Games. Have you seen this?
No.
Bro, they're gonna allow them to take testosterone boosters and yeah, bro, it's gonna be crazy. They're gonna do boxing, sprinting. It's supposed to be like a Olympics type thing. They're trying to challenge the Olympics. They're doing boxing, MMA, sprinting, and there's like two more that I'm forgetting. Yeah, bro. They're gonna do it, and because it was on Joe's podcast. That's how I found out about it.
Okay, back to what we were saying. We're not condoning this. Okay.
I condone it. Do all the drugs you want. It's like that one. We're not gonna do what the fuck you want.
It sucks because like I see both arguments. Okay. You know, you are at the end of the day in something like MMA, boxing, or any combat sport, you are kind of dealing with like life or death for the most part.
Well, I mean, you're relying on your body.
Exactly. But man, like if you just let everybody use it.
Well, no, okay, hold on. I should have explained it just a little bit more. They're not gonna do like at least
rigorous
right now,
drug
they're not,
testing?
no, there is gonna be drug testing to the point of which they want it to be enhanced. They're trying to like do a superhuman essentially. They're trying to be your best physical form because right, if you do too much of anything, it's gonna start hurting you.
Yeah.
Right. If you start drinking too much beer, it's gonna hurt your liver. You know what I mean? if you start drinking too much soda, you're gonna start gaining weight from the sugar. Like everything's good in moderation, and that's essentially they're gonna do a perfect example. It's one championship. They're weight cutting. They do a hydration test. They're making sure you're still hydrated, and then you're not depleting yourself too far. And that's essentially the route that they're gonna do.
And you still won't watch a one championship fight.
No, I've watched one championship. I like one championship.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I just don't follow it like I do for the UFC, essentially. I mean, I followed when Demetrius was there. I followed, and Eddie Alvarez, I followed his career a little bit. So
Casual.
I followed it a bit, but it's just, it's just the thing is that I just don't know those fighters that well, and it's
That's
a little bit
understandable.
harder to, like, okay, choose the fighter that I really want to watch.
To be fair, I will butcher a lot of their names.
Mhm.
There's certain names I know.
No, and don't get me wrong, I've watched clips, like, I follow them on TikTok, and they'll put full fights on there.
It's
which I
great.
appreciate.
It's
I
great.
appreciate
Watch Muay Thai fights. I'm telling you, they're great. Kickboxing, Muay Thai, it's fucking awesome. Anyways, we have a segment I like to call "In My Defense." This is where Richard and I have a take, and we have to defend it. Okay, I'm gonna let you go first, just because it's still kind of on topic of what we're talking
yeah.
about. Okay.
Khabib the bastard. The nobody's goat. Everyone's goat except mine, apparently. Everyone.
Wait, did you just call Khabib a bastard?
Yeah.
In what context?
He's
Just
a
in
bastard.
general?
I just don't like him.
Oh, okay. I was like, in what
He's just a
context?
bastard.
Look,
no,
man.
he's not a bastard. He's actually a pretty good person. Like, I know he's done, good things for the community, and I appreciate him for doing the his thing to the Good Fight. I know he donated a lot of money to Dustin Poirier's thing.
Yeah, Connor didn't.
Yeah, he did it. He's been a little bitch about it. But my thing about Khabib, you could just put him against Dustin. If you take the belt out of it and you blacked out both people, you don't know who either one of them are, and you showed a casual fight or a casual fan their record and their names of who they fought, you're gonna be like, dude, this guy fought some dudes. You're gonna be like, holy fuck, why does this dude only have 3 good fights under his belt and he's the GOAT? I feel like those 3 fights, and don't get me wrong, I know he beat Dustin Poirier, and the other one I'm alluding to is Dustin Poirier, obviously. But, dude, to me, the caliber of who you fight at that time matters so much. It matters so much to get to that point. Because if you look at Dustin Poirier's whole career, he has fights that aged like fine wine. Max Holloway, the first Justin Gaethje fight, that aged like fine wine. Like, you're like, holy shit, this dude's a dude.
Even his losses are entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. When he lost to Charles Oliveira, he was winning that fight. He was rocking him. He was stunning him. You know what I mean? So, like, he's always been right fucking there.
To remind me.
But that's where my thing goes to. In my defense, he's not my GOAT. He's just not. If you consider Khabib one of the GOATs, then you have to put Benson Henderson in that same thing. Because if you're taking the names out of it, he has the same number of title defenses. That's what it is. And you can go do the same thing with Benson Henderson. You can be like, well, who did he fight? Exactly. That's my fucking point, bro.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
Yeah, but the internet might disagree.
Okay, this is what I think. I think there's a general misconception. I feel like one of the reasons why they try to call him the lightweight GOAT is hold on. Let me. No, I don't think it's the O.
Well, dude,
let me explain.
Joe will
Let
always
me
be like
explain.
29 and 0.
Let me explain. Let me
It's like, bro,
explain
you couldn't
why.
get 30.
He
could have get 30.
I agree, but let me explain why I
He
think.
could have gone 30.
Because, for the most part, anytime Khabib really did want to get you down and do what he wanted to do,
No, there's
He
no.
did it.
I'm not debating that he's dominant.
I
That's not what I'm
know.
debating.
But what I'm saying is, I think that's why people try to call him the lightweight GOAT. I don't think it's the O, because I think a lot of the general misconception. I think a lot of people think that he would have lost if he kept fighting more than you think. Because
to me,
I'm in
lost
that
his
boat.
first- he lost his first fight against Gleison Tebow. I think he lost that fight. I remember watching. I watched that
watched
fight.
that?
I did. I actually watched that. I remember
My voice
watching
cracked
that.
a little bit, but
And
yes.
I was gonna say. whoa.
You watched that?
Yeah, I did watch that. But yeah, he lost that fight, bro. If you know what I mean, like, yes, he evolved more as a martial artist, but bro, who the fuck did you fight that stayed in? See, I would just goes back to the aging like fine wine. Dustin's earlier wins aged like fine wine.
Okay, but
They either ended up becoming champions or consecutively fought for championships.
I wholeheartedly believe that Jorge could have beaten Khabib at lightweight when he still fought there, and they both still fought there.
Okay,
Because-
I disagree with this.
Hold on,
This
because
is your defense. This is your defense thing?
no, this isn't it. This is just a dumb
Okay.
thought, honestly.
Okay.
Because because this doesn't make sense. This is what I'm trying to say. Ai Quinta was Khabib's toughest fight. Do you agree?
Yeah. It was,
did we-
other than
hold
the
on, hold
takeout
on.
one that I was just explaining.
And did we just not agree that there's no way that Jorge lost to Ai Quinta?
Yeah.
This is just the fight math that I'm doing in my head. Is all I'm saying.
Fight math doesn't make sense.
Fight
but it
math
makes
does
sense.
not make
It does
sense.
make sense when you align the equation just perfectly.
Yeah.
In this sense, it aligns perfectly. and I-
Exactly. You see how I just laid that out for you, and I
I
convinced
totally
you.
agree.
Exactly.
Because I'm sorry, but Ali Quinta is just he's
There's
just
no
not that guy, bro.
fucking way.
He's just not that guy.
I
He
know,
put
but
up a
like,
fight.
props to like being Khabib's toughest fight. But the way his career has gone is it's fucking crazy that man was the most dominant man in the UFC's toughest fight. He took that on 2 weeks notice.
Yep.
Because Tony had to pull out.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
But
That's all I have to
that
say.
also goes back to me liking Islam more now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just has the quality of opponent that he fought. It's just better. It's
Dude,
what it
and
is.
I'm not gonna lie. Ever since he broke into the top 10, I feel like all of his fights have been bangers.
Yeah, I agree. They've been good.
Since
fights.
he broke like at least the top 5 and he became champ, because like the Volk fights are fucking awesome.
Dude, they're awesome. I rewatched their first one.
Yeah.
That shit's a banger. It's such a good fight.
Yeah. I still think they could give Justin Gaethje a title shot. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Why not?
I have to be so bad.
You want to cross streams?
Yes, let's go.
Okay. Now, for my part, in my defense, this is where I'm defending that I believe that Homelander is the best written villain of all time. Hear me out. This is recency bias, I can admit that. But I just feel like, man, such a well-acted villain by Anthony Starr. Every time that man is on screen, you are just uncomfortable. You feel it, but also in some weird way, especially in the last episode, you feel bad. And full spoilers ahead. There is always going to be spoilers. Let that be known. But we're gonna let you know.
I have no filter.
Man, dude, there's just bits where I almost didn't.
Sympathize?
I sympathize with him, man. Like, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Being tested on as a kid, not really having a lot of. Why can't I think right now?
He had no friends. No friends. They made fun of him.
Yeah.
I relate. The ones that the closest things that he could consider to family, essentially,
The 7.
bullied him, or no, I'm talking about in the cellar.
Oh, the scientist.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like when he was talking about shooting and laughing at him, like
Making a man jerk off in front of everyone.
woo, my God, bro.
Do you feel like you would have been able to get hard? I just would have made eye contact and just tried.
You're just making eye contact.
Yeah.
But he's hysterically laughing though. That's what's so ominous and creepy about it. And I'd be like,
That's
like,
true.
It would just be honestly, I'd probably just go down swinging.
Against Homelander.
Yeah, I'm going down swinging. I'm gonna break my hand on your face.
He's probably gonna freaking.
He might
razor
respect you a
blade.
little bit.
Maybe
Because that's part of the whole thing, though. Is
Yeah.
he's been had no one's
No one's challenged
no
him.
one's challenged him.
be like,
And a
hey,
PD
Homelander,
human?
fuck you.
Yeah.
You can kill me if you want. I mean, to be fair, he didn't kill the scientist lady at the end.
But the way she left her,
She's
that
just,
was insane,
she's just
bro.
mentally scarred for life.
That's I love that he did that. To be honest.
Do you know what I just noticed?
What?
I
Our
He
audience is back.
yeah. Hey, Loki. He hadn't smiled. Have you noticed he hasn't like really smiled since this new season started?
Well, he's done it like his little like
Fake smile.
like
Yeah. And then he has his twitches.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's smiling at the end of the episode after he's covered in blood. What some would consider to be some sort of baptism for a new birth.
Okay.
Dude,
Okay.
that's crazy.
Dude, he's such a
man.
well-known character. Because I know it's in his defense, but I'm not putting up any fight here. And like you said, I know recency bias is a thing, but my God, if someone said to me right now that he's the greatest villain of all time,
You can't argue
I'm really
against
not
it.
gonna argue because, like, right, even if you go to the Joker, they haven't done as good of a job, or you're not even supposed to sympathize them for one thing.
You
But you
shouldn't.
do sympathize with Homelander
Yeah.
to a certain extent. Even
But
if
he's
you
still a
know what he's doing,
horrendous human
yes,
being.
he's terrible,
And he
like what
makes you
said.
terrified. And he has these what I think every good villain should have is unique character traits. That when villains feel like you're cookie cutter, I've seen this before, that's when you're at a problem.
Yeah.
When you have a memorable villain, that's what you remember.
Who's
That's
also
why Heath
so
Ledger's
unpredictable.
Joker is still like
Yes.
the Joker everyone usually goes to. Some people say Jack Nicholson.
I mean,
I say Jared Leto.
Right.
I'm just kidding. I just wanted
Now
to
you're in defense.
no. I just wanted to see your reaction. I mean, I still think Heath Ledger is probably my preferred performance,
Yeah.
live action.
Yes, sir.
But I actually believe we have yet to see my favorite where I'm like, that's Joker. Personally,
Joker 2 does look good though.
the Joker movies are amazing. Joker 2 looks so great. So yeah, man, that is in my defense.
Well, then we should just talk about The Boys because The Boys, the pacing of the show is just so good. Bro.
Yeah, let's go into more heavy spoilers. Yeah, dude, this season has been so good so far. I think Billy's a soup. I think he's a soup, but he doesn't realize it. I think he feels like he's dying because he took the V when he was dying. So that's going to be his constant feeling. Because other than that, what the fuck happened to that dude?
To me, I think it's gonna be more like it's gonna be essentially like a Moonlight type situation. Where
So-
like it kind of whatever that thing is, I don't know what it is.
There's a theory that thing that's crawling in his head, the V made that sentient. So it's like a whole other being that's controlling him but has powers.
Oh.
Something like that. I don't know, dude.
I mean, that's something.
That's
Like I-
something, but-
so that's a theory or your theory?
No, that's a theory I heard. I
My
don't know if I would
theory-
prefer that, but
My theory is more like I think it's gonna be he's developed some sort of alter ego. That's kind of what I think. Because if you think about it, right, he's already talking to somebody else, his wife.
his wife.
He's talking to her. You know, that's what kind of like that's why I kind of lean towards Moonlight because he's talking to somebody.
Yeah.
He's kind of his personality splitting. That's what I think. I mean, it's the theory. I have no idea.
Or is that just still him dealing with effects of the 10th V?
Could
And
be.
and it's made worse because he took the compound V.
Could be going worse because maybe his death is accelerating.
Yeah.
Maybe the compound V that's left in him is trying to keep him alive. Maybe that's why it's always trying to move around. But his cancer or whatever illness he has is rapidly.
I'm pretty sure it's cancer.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
rapidly increasing so fast. That's why the V is trying to go.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, the dad that just got saved at the end.
I think the mom saved him.
I think so. I totally agree with you because if you look in the beginning, she had her Vought. I don't even know what smelling. No,
Yeah.
that's not but, but you know what I'm saying. Essential oils. That's what it's called.
I just had a minor PTSD.
Yeah, and so did I. It just kind of flushed in my brain. But
I will never take Vought smelling salts.
yeah, either would I. But that's why I think that because before you even said it, that's kind of what I was already. I think the mom did it. I was like, I think the mom did it.
Because
It's
I
like,
swear
why would she search his bag or his pockets. This doesn't really.
Did he
make
leave
sense.
his jacket in the
Well,
in the
it
chair? I
looked
don't remember.
from the
I thought he
side-
took it.
From the scene, it looked like he put it in his jacket and then he took his jacket off. That's what it looked like. But like I said, and that's why we had kind of came to the same conclusion. It doesn't make sense that she would like, oh, let me check his jacket. Like, especially when they're taking him off life support. You know what I mean? It doesn't
Or-
logically make sense to me.
Or this is another theory I heard. I think is kind of interesting. Huey's also feeling the effects of the temp fee, and his mom is a figment of his imagination. Because someone said because the nurse doesn't respond or react when his mom talks, only when he does. I feel like I just blew your mind, didn't I?
I didn't even think about that. Whoa.
So maybe Butcher
That's
and
right, because when
Huey.
he's talking to them, they haven't gone there. Starlight was there. She
Yeah.
didn't meet the mom.
Yeah.
I just got goosebumps. This is what I'm talking about. This show is so well written, bro. They could do any route, and I'd be like, this is a masterpiece.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I will say this though. I think my favorite episode still to this day from The Boys is the hero gasm.
Everyone's gonna say that. That thing is insane.
Oh my god! But it's the comedy, but mainly the fight scene.
Ugh.
Because when action is done right, it's a way to tell a story, but also a way to tell you about the character.
Yep.
And there's this moment where like Homelander's never been in that tough of a fight, and I will say he put up a really good fight in that episode for someone who's never really been in a challenging fight.
Yep.
But and the primal scream he gives at the end when he's about to lose, when he's about to get fucking triple teamed by the boys,
Yeah.
you know, and he's being held down. That sounds a little homoerotic, but you get the point.
Imagine the theme of the episode.
It does. It does.
Getting gangbang.
Wait, what? That's the theme of the episode?
Oh,
What?
Yeah, it was.
Anyways, but yeah, dude, and then Soldier Boy being this really cool villain. Also, on another note, if they make another boy spin-off, Soldier Boy,
I'm all.
that's
for
my
it, bro.
choice personally.
Did you watch Gen V then?
No, not yet.
They alluded to it a little bit in some cutaways.
I'd be
You know,
down.
I always loved how they've always done like oh, here's a commercial. I've always loved
Yeah,
that. Like it
'cause
just
makes
goes to the world building.
Yeah,
So good.
yeah, exactly. But and then like Butcher, the way he like fights in that episode, he always kind of fights with this like I'm willing to take more of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like a very brawler-esque style, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And just finally see, like, there's that bit when he hits him with the laser, and before the fight starts, and even Homelander's like, "What have you done?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really is about how much you hate me. And in some weird way, Billy is the only person that feels such strong feelings for Homelander in The Boys.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he kind of likes Billy. You know, he's like, you feel something for me. You know, you're not afraid.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And man, I just think that's what makes this show so goddamn compelling, dude. It's such a good show.
It's so good.
And then
I can't get enough of it. I really can't. Like I watched the first episode and we did the other podcast at that time. Now he was like, "Have you caught up? Have you caught up? Are you caught up yet?" And I was like, "Bro, trust me, I want to watch it. I want to." To me, The Boys is just so bingeable. It's just so bingeable because like the way this last one just ended off was like, when's the next one? When is the next episode? I don't even know. Thursday?
Drops, yeah, it's Thursday.
Okay.
It drops midnight on Wednesday.
I see. So
Usually when I watch it, I'm always like, run on the money, let's go. Yeah, dude, it's just so good, man. So good. Oh man.
I'm excited to see where it goes, and I really do think that The Boys is not going to be one of those shows that lingers.
Well, no, they
I think-
they confirmed season 5 is gonna be the last. Season.
Oh, they did. Okay, and we're on season 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's perfect.
I'm all for that because I
'Cause
think
now you-
5 seasons is perfect.
Now you know all this that's coming up is gonna be like crazy shit. Like there's not gonna be filler.
Nice.
Also, Firecracker.
Oh.
For a second there, I almost got my "Make America Great Again" hat that I don't own.
Oh.
Yeah, I should have been that 15-year-old boy that she met in church camp. But hold on, also like it's crazy that essentially that is so underlooked compared to fucking Annie having an abortion. They're like, "Oh, she had an abortion." That's worse than hooking up with someone who's underage when you're in church camp. That's insane.
Wild.
That's wild. But I mean, you know,
And I feel like it's something that the current political landscape would actually, I feel like that would be correct. If something like that happened right now, where it's two opposing characters politically, and something came out like that, I feel like the way that The Boys has interpreted it would pretty much go out that way.
yeah.
In terms of like, no, maybe not like staging of bodies and stuff, but I'm talking more in the terms of like, you know, someone in an affair and an abortion, people would clamor to that abortion, be like, "Oh my God, you took away a life," and blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they perfectly captured the way that political landscape.
The
use that
hypocrisy
shit.
too.
Yes.
It's been a ride seeing people being like, "This show's so woke." This show's so woke. One thing that has bothered me too, it's like people are surprised that Frenchie's full on making out with the dude. I'm just surprised that he had a love interest out of nowhere.
That was what I was gonna say.
But the dude has kind of always been willing to fuck anything.
Yeah, he's always alluded that he's like bi.
Yeah.
But
Dude,
I agree
no,
that it's just out of nowhere.
I swear to God, there's an episode where he wakes up in bed with the dude
Mhm.
in like a flashback or something like that.
I
I don't know, but,
off the top of my head.
but like he's always been that
Well,
dude.
like I said, it's always to me. He's always alluded to that he's willing to go.
Yeah,
any way possible,
exactly.
essentially, if you're willing to give it up, he's willing to take it.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. And I agree that. And the actor, I don't know his name, but the actor that is playing his love interest is he was on Call of Duty, so that's where I knew him from. He was a playable character in Modern Warfare 3. No, 2019 Modern Warfare. There's been so many Modern Warfares.
Nerd.
Is it a nerd if I didn't know it right off the top of my head? It's 2019 Modern Warfare 2019. He was in there.
It's actually a nerd that you went through Call of Duty games to be like, I'm pretty sure it's this one.
You know how popular Call of Duty is?
Yeah, it's basic. You're basic.
Oh, basic. We're
Yeah.
gonna go basic here.
You're
When
basic.
he's still clamoring to Injustice. That's never gonna get a third sequel.
A threequel.
A threequel.
That's what you think.
I know it's not gonna happen. They already said that's not gonna happen.
He's so petty when it comes to these games. He just hates them because they're the
No,
only
you
games.
see.
They're
he-
the, hold
see,
on,
then
hold on.
He
Hush,
doesn't willing.
hush.
He's not willing to
They're the
acknowledge
only
that he's
games
the same
that
way
I'm
towards
good
Call
at.
of Duty.
They're the only games I'm really good at, and I usually beat
And
him at.
it's only because I suck at what would you call it? Arcade fighters.
And you know what's funny is he calls himself a gamer. When you go back to what original gamers were playing in arcades, you fucking suck now, bro.
Oh yeah, but in racing games, I destroy you.
Racing games are stupid.
Oh, they don't matter.
They
See,
don't
they're not
matter,
good, are they?
no.
Oh,
No.
here we go. No, it has
No.
to be this way. It
Didn't we
can't be
play?
that
Didn't
way.
we
It has
play
to be
Mario
this way.
Kart and I beat you?
No, that was your failed love interest that beat you and rubbed your face in the ground.
Do you see what he does to me? Failed love interest. What is this? An episode of New Girl? Jesus.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. I'm a little bit of Winston, a little bit of Nick.
Yeah, you really are.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just you never know which one is coming and which one's going, and sometimes he takes things a little too far, just like Winston. So
Me?
yeah, sometimes you can take the little things too far. I'm like, do you not realize what you're saying? And you're like, who, me? Yeah, you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I already know how we got on this conversation. Anyways,
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
You just hear bro rating me.
It's not weird, but it's just random. It just felt random. That's it. I have no problem with it. It just felt random.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the way that they're building it.
I thought it was Kamiko and him,
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought that was the whole
but then
time.
she just kind of like brother zoned him.
Yeah, brothers own. He's like, okay. You know.
I love that he was like, "No, you're right. If you're not gonna give me a shot, I'm just fucking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tap that and be happy."
But
Yeah,
I do like how the way I
She
like.
hella let him on though. I feel like
Yes, she did. 100%. Well, this whole time I thought they were just kind of like in the back room.
she
you
just
know.
wanted him to help her kill people.
Yeah. But anyways, I do like how they're kind of like leaning a little bit more into his past and him being essentially a hitman.
Frenchie?
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
think he's-
pretty brutal what he. You know, I like Frenchie, but his. You know, that's a pretty fucked up.
It's a
thing to do.
gray, very gray.
Is it gray?
Yeah.
It's very. That's what you should have let off with, bro.
Okay, but if I'm sleeping with someone and then I remember that I accidentally might have killed their
No, he didn't
parents.
remember. He was trying to help this person because he felt sympathy.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
knew.
Okay, but I'm not gonna. Okay. Would you tell? I wouldn't.
You do. Okay,
Why? Because then
here's
they're
the
not
thing.
gonna take your help.
No, here's the thing: is he's already been helping, and then now that you feel that it's going this way, you know the whole touchy way. That's when you gotta tell them, hey, bro, I really want to smash, but you gotta know I was a hitman and I took out your parents.
So you're saying tell the truth before you have sex,
Yes.
not after.
Because then afterwards, it's just so much worse. I'm sorry, it's just so much worse.
I feel
You're
like
like, wow, you smashed and now you're telling me this? Like, yeah, imagine how that dude feels, bro. His feelings are fucked, and he's already having
Confused
feelings
as fuck, because if
He
it was
thought
great sex, he would have been like, I'm so mad at you, but like, come back. Dude, I mean, he almost killed Frenchie.
No, he almost did.
And
But what I'm
Frenchie was
saying
gonna
is
let
that he
him.
had such a fucked up upbringing, and now that it's going this way, it's like, bruh, that's so tough. Like that, you're fucking you're fucking him physically and mentally, and it's just whoo.
Is that not how relationships work?
Yeah, maybe yours, not mine.
Hey, yo. That was uncalled for. See how he just bullies me?
You started though.
I've done nothing to be a good co-host. Rude. I mean, yeah, dude. I really like Huey's progression too. I feel like he should just take V. I don't know why. I think that's just what I want to happen most.
I do too. I felt that way with V and Butcher. I mean, obviously now we know, but before that moment when he essentially blacked out, I was like, bro, it's the end of the road. You know, like if you're essentially, I'm not saying like, oh, you take it right now.
Do you know in the comics they've had it since the beginning? In the comics, they have Temp V since like the first issue.
But see, I know that they've gone so far off track.
Yeah, but I also argue that not giving them the abilities from the beginning makes it interesting.
Oh no, 100%.
Because they have to use their wits to fight a superhero.
Yes.
You know that's it. Other than that, you're gonna get your cookie cutter edgy superhero.
Yeah, it's gonna turn into what current Marvel is essentially.
Yeah.
If you have something where you're superiorly underwhelmed, essentially, they're just overwhelmingly stronger, faster than you. You know what I mean? Like there's a bit different dynamic there versus like how you said. Apparently, I didn't even know that they have 10V from the beginning. Like I'm
Not
sure.
10V, Compound V.
Oh, Compound V. Okay.
So they're just
they're just full on superheroes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do you want to know? I want to tell you a little bit so you can. I want to see your reactions to this because some of this shit is ridiculous, and I love comics, and I know comics are inherently ridiculous. But my biggest gripe with the boys' comics has always been that it's it feels like it's written by an edgy teenager that hates superheroes, and it's not that I'm not okay with gore and dark stuff, but there are just certain things where I'm just like. What is the violence has to serve a purpose. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's just gratuitous violence. Don't get me wrong, I love gratuitous violence, but make a good story at least, or have characters that kind of are good. Mm-hmm. You know, because Mother's Milk, the way he got his name is when his mother was pregnant with him. She worked at Vought. And some of the vials of Compound V fell on her, and it deeped into her like her DNA and shit, something like that. And what wound up happening is he had a twin brother, and the reason they call him Mother's Milk is because he has to breastfeed from his mom and drink his mom's milk to keep his powers and remain healthy. Otherwise, he withers and dies. Tell me that isn't the weirdest fucking thing you've ever heard.
Very weird.
You're like. I'm actually really glad they changed a lot of the comics.
I'm happy they didn't do that.
And then, like I said, in the original SA in Boys is far worse. It's all of the seven doing that to Starlight instead of just the Deep. All of the seven. Yeah. For the most part, like because it's Homelander, Black Noir, the Deep.
Yeah.
A-Train.
Yeah.
I think he's just like the male. Yeah, dude.
Jesus Christ. That's crazy,
it's
bro.
Fucking and then there's a bit where Huey gets mad at her because he never told her or something like that about the she let it happen or she didn't fight something like that. With the point where you're like, bro,
yeah, read the room.
Yeah, you're like no. Yeah, dude.
I'm happy they didn't go that way because it's already with just how the open, like, dude, even the opening of
Becca's dead.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
His wife, she died. She did give birth to a kid, but she gave birth suddenly in the middle of the night when her and Billy were in bed, and the baby comes out like, breaks out of her stomach like something out
Like
of
a chest burster.
yeah. And a baby's. You know how the way they described it in The Boys, where she's like, you broke out of the mother's stomach womb. You were floating in the air with the umbilical cord,
Yeah.
with your eyes red, glowing because you had just killed people. That's out from the comics. That was the baby.
Okay.
And then Butcher beats it to death with a crowbar.
Yeah, this sounds insane. I'm happy they didn't go this route.
We were like, what?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the biggest twist is I think it's well known that Black Noir is a Homelander clone. Yeah. And Homeland and Black Noir has been doing all these horrible things to frame Homelander. One of them is eating a baby. Images of him eating a baby. Yeah. And it was actually Black Noir that assaulted Butcher's wife.
Okay.
Turns out Black Noir has been the real Homelander all along. It feels cheap.
Yeah, it feels very cheap. I'm so happy they didn't go that route. Oh my god.
And they confirmed they're not going
So
down that route.
How long did the Boys series go on?
For a while. Funny thing is, can you guess where the writer tried to pitch The Boys first?
Oh, I don't know.
They were originally going to be Justice League.
Okay. Oh, I do remember this
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember this.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, I'm happy I never read the books because it just sounds like
They're
it's
not
just,
good. They're not like
It
Invincible.
just doesn't. Yeah, Invincible's awesome.
Yeah, Invincible is amazing.
But just to go back to, I know you were talking about the whole Seven ganging up on her, but even just the beginning of when Homelander's like, "Deep, I want you to blow A-Train," I was like, "Oh, right off the bat." It's those type of moments is when you just don't know what you're getting from Homelander, and it's just like you just feel it. You feel it.
They make him better than the source material. And I know it's hugely in part of Anthony Starr and his performance.
Dude, he's
And-
killing it, bro.
Give that man an Emmy. He deserves it.
Yeah.
He was tortured in a lab. That was real.
I'm in total agreement with this too. Like he's fucking killing it, bro. From just the beginning, from the very first season, I've always just felt his presence. Like the way that he performs is so like you just feel it through the screen, even though you're not there. You're like, am I gonna get my fucking my brain just blown up by a laser? Like
I hope that if Homelander were to kill me, if I was in that position, I would hope that it'd be lasered.
yeah.
And it like
I want it to be
headshot.
quick, bro.
I don't want him to squish my head or laser my balls and then squish my head.
Yeah.
Seems painful. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too, bro. It's I just love The Boys, and I feel like how current superheroes are, they should try to, I don't want to say like copy them, but in terms of like just laying down the groundworks and just letting things breathe is just the way to go.
Yeah.
It really is.
And I think Billy Butcher's probably one of my favorite performances of all time too.
dude, he's so
He's
funny.
so good.
He's so
He
fucking
is so good, man. He's so charming too.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh man. And then there's a certain rage when he turns on that switch that is also so terrifying. And I think that's what makes The Boys so compelling, is that Butcher and Homelander in a lot of ways are similar when they get to that point where it's just red. It is terrifying. Because I still rewatched the scene from season 3 where he kills Gunpowder. And oh my god, that's such a brutal death. Or Mesmer in season 1,
Yeah.
where he's like grabs his head and he just bashes his head in on the sink. Oh my god, I gotta love how brutal that man is too, because but he really is Homelander without powers. I feel like that's the brutality that Homelander would exhibit if he was just human.
No, I don't disagree.
And I think, and again, that's why he got basically the same powers as Homelander in season 3 when he took the 10B.
that's a good
Because I
point.
think in many ways, they, like I said, they mirror each other. They're both people just. Butcher doesn't really have anything to live for besides making sure Ryan is safe.
Yeah.
And he doesn't turn into a little Brightburn. Ryan, I think, would be a good spinoff too. I really hope that he doesn't give in to the dark side, because I feel like if he gave in, I feel like that's safe.
Really, you think so?
Yeah,
I
think you can make a compelling case.
I don't think either one is safe.
I just want him to be
Because
good.
this is what I kind of
I feel bad for his mom.
I feel like he might walk away entirely.
I would hope so. I would be okay
I
with
think
that.
that's what I think. I think he'll just
Be
be
okay
like,
with that.
I'm not gonna be this. I'm not gonna be that. I'm gonna be me.
Like if there's a episode where like he just kind of like big confrontation, whatever, right? And like middle of it, he just kind of like flies off on his own, becomes a nomad. I'd be so down with that.
And
I think you can make a spin-off to Homelander Son, because I think that's a really compelling thing. Also, you can do a very different but similar Invincible style storyline.
Okay.
But the difference is that now Omni-Man's become more redeemable than Homelander can ever be.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
mean,
major
is it though?
difference.
Well, I mean, I don't know. They're both to me. They're very similar.
No, dude. I feel like Omni-Man is
No,
someone.
no, no, okay. I'm not talking about in like their personalities. I'm just talking about in terms of what they've done.
Okay, I'm not saying
can't
it's
tell
not
me.
bad, but I'm not. But
You
I'm
can't tell him holding
Homelander-
Mark and just seeing the train
But
of people
Homelander
brutally
doesn't
getting
feel
split. in half.
sympathy for any
I
of his
understand that.
actions.
I understand.
I don't
that.
think you
And
do.
I do
Because now Omni-Man feels guilt.
he does now because
But
of.
Homelander will never get to the
I
point where he
understand that.
feels,
But you're saying redeemable. But okay, actually, I guess we should define redeemable. Redeemable in terms of the in-universe, the way they're perceived, or how they're perceived to the audience.
how they're perceived to the audience.
Okay, then I totally agree.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we just got kind of
You
missed
just
the
like
line.
to argue.
Because you said redeemable, and I was like, whoa. I was thinking to the.
mean in
I,
the
I
eyes
thought
of
you.
the audience, not
Okay,
in
I
the
understand.
eyes of the world. or
I,
universe.
that's what I thought you were saying, and that's when I completely
I
disagreed.
should have elaborated.
You should have elaborated.
But to
You
be
don't do
fair,
that
you were
enough.
interrupting
You
me.
don't do that enough, is the thing. He'll text me and be like, should I do this or should I do that? And I'm like, well, I don't know what you're trying to do because you're not elaborating on anything you're saying. You're like,
You should
oh,
just
yeah.
read my mind.
Oh, you're the female here.
Are you saying?
Yeah.
Wow, that's very sexist of you to say.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you said worse.
Yeah, I said worse. You said worse as well.
I know what you're talking about. I liked Barbie, so
So did I. I liked it more than you did. His first
That's
thing when he
true.
watched Barbie, he's like, it just wasn't a movie made for me.
that's not what I said.
Yes, it is. It is.
I said this
Yes.
movie was really funny, but I said it definitely wasn't tailor made for me though. It's not like it's
How's that
not
any different than I just said?
you. First of all, you made it seem like a whole other thing. Second of
But see,
all,
this is what I'm talking about. He'll send text and he won't elaborate on anything he says. And then when he comes in person, he's like, "Well, you're construing what I said in a totally."
I'm just Ken. I'm just saying.
Take it at face value, but
I'm just Ken is a banger, and it
well,
always
yeah,
will
it
be.
is a banger. What do we? There's no disagreement here.
Yeah, I'm just making sure everybody knew.
Okay,
That's the best song of 2023.
I don't
Hands down.
disagree at all. I mean, it's a reason why I won awards, right?
The only thing that Barbie won was an Oscar
Oh.
to I Am Ken. That's insane, actually. I feel like the Academy did that on purpose,
It's a great song. So
but it is a great song. But apparently, people are getting tired of it. Did you hear about that?
yeah, I didn't hear about that, but I mean, it's still on my playlist.
Yeah. Oh, I will bang that shit on repeat,
Yeah.
and I will do the dance when I'm on my own.
On your own?
Yeah.
What? I like an audience. Do it now. It's just me.
You get that? He wants me to dance for him.
Oh, come on. Me and the audience. He's walking away.
Yeah, because he's tired of your shit.
My shit, your shit.
Oh man, yeah. Do you have anything else, man? I feel like we've covered all
Well,
our
I know
bases.
we this last half we kind of jumped around a little bit, but I wanted to touch on the UFC trilogies.
Oh, we didn't finish that, did we?
Yeah, we didn't.
Okay, let's go.
We
back
went
to
straight
it.
to the boys because we were itching to talk about the boys for fucking so long.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna list off just for so people may or may not know of the earlier trilogies.
Okay.
I'm gonna just list them off. The key ones that I wrote down. We got BJ Penn versus Matt Hughes, GSP versus Matt Hughes, Chuck Liddell versus Randy Couture, Rampage Jackson versus Vanderlei Silva, Tito Ortiz versus Shamrock, Forrest Griffin versus Tito Ortiz, And then this is a really under the radar one. This one was like when I was growing up, and I was like, I need to watch it because it was like the first ones on Fox was Fisher versus Scout. That's a banger. I'm not even gonna lie. And then we got Uriah Faber versus Dominic Cruz. And then we got Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. And then now these are what I would consider my two personal favorite is Frankie Edgar versus Gray Maynard. Fucking wars they had. And then DC versus Stipe Miocic. I just recently rewatched those like last night. I was like,
DC Miocic?
yeah, I watched all three. I was like, dude, they're so good.
Yeah.
Dude, so that first fight, right? It's so quick. It happens so fast.
I have that on my list too. I have GSP versus Hughes
Okay.
as my favorites. I thought you'd be surprised.
I am surprised, actually.
DC versus Miocic, and then I have Kane versus JDS.
Oh, that's one I forgot.
Yeah.
We were talking about it
We
earlier.
were
and
talking
I-
about it.
Yeah.
But I really like that.
I just didn't
trilogy.
write that one down. That one was a great one. I mean, very dominant performance. I think that the best ones have, like I said, my two favorite is definitely Frankie Edgar. I'm a huge fan of Frankie. I mean, he's not like one of my all-time favorites, but I've been a huge fan because he
Soft
just
spot
has.
for him.
Yes, he just has so much heart, and it was greatly shown in those Gray Maynard fights. Like if you look at their second fight, bro, this dude's. Have you ever watched it? This dude is out on his feet. He's like rolling around.
I
in
think
the
you
cage.
showed me highlights, but it's been so long.
Dude, I don't
And
know.
again,
I still
so
don't know how
much
he survived.
media to consume, and,
Yeah.
and so much fight news to catch up on, like currently.
Mhm. Yeah, Kurt, I know.
Yeah.
But it's that's one of them, and then like I was saying is DC versus Stipe because they're just so high level. Because like you could see it, first one's a finish, second one's a finish, and then the third one's just.
I think the third one's the
grueling.
best one.
It's just a grueling fight, and it's very
You
competitive.
feel the, you
I
hear
do,
the
I do think,
punches.
I do think Stipe won though, for sure.
The third one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just because it was 2-2 going in that fourth, and then Stipe just put it on him at the end, and just because like I said, I was rewatching the second one, dude. Stipe was getting his ass kicked
had
for
to-
like 4 rounds.
he had to dig deep, bro.
And he
had to
just
dig
started.
deep.
And bro, how many times we talk about this all the time? Go to the body. No one goes to the body enough in MMA at all. And this dude just starts digging. And I think it perfectly captures the high level that they both fight at because in the third fight, that left hook to the body that was established so well at the end of the second fight was really non-existent in the third fight because DC had just countered it or made adjustments just like Miocic did from their first fight from being in the dirty boxing and clinch. So that to me that's like, man, that fight was so highly technical.
It's hard to say because I really like Kane versus JDS as like the heavyweight trilogy that I like my favorite.
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest, I do think it's DC versus Miocic.
See, the thing with the Kane one is that the first one was quick. After
Yeah,
the first round.
yeah.
Second one was just an absolute ass beating, and also the third one was an ass beating too because other than the very first round, Kane just he went cardio Kane, just put it on him and just.
So do you think that based off merits of how the competitiveness went,
exactly. Yes.
you think Miocic DC
Well,
takes
because
it?
like I said, the first two finishes, and then the third one was just about them adjusting to what the other one was doing and properly countering each other. And dude, it's such, me looking back, like rewatching them. I think I enjoyed them in the moment. Don't get me wrong, but man, I kind of underappreciated DC and Stipe. I mean, I know Stipe is the GOAT in heavyweight division for sure. There's just no question about it.
Yeah.
I know I made the case last episode for him, or for that division, at least right now being the most open it could possibly be. But man, they're just so highly technical, especially for being heavyweights. I mean, heavyweights are known for just, I'm gonna throw a lethal right hand and you're gonna go down.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
You know what's another fight that is a banger that is underappreciated? Costa versus Uriah Hall.
Did they fight 3 times?
No,
you're
not
just talking
trilogy.
about
I just think
fight.
and one where we go like Costa was throwing some mean body shots and some mean body kicks.
Yeah.
That I was just like, this might be my favorite Costa fight, honestly.
See, the thing with Costa to me is just that, like, ever since the Izzy fight, I feel like he's been a little gun shy. Because pre
Getting knocked out and countered like that bad will do that to you.
Yes, 100%.
Especially after you've been this fucking tank in every single one of your fights. and someone comes in and takes away your self confidence, and I feel like really made him question himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bro, that shit'll fucking do that, especially when you talked as much as he did.
Yeah.
You know, I like Costa. You know, even though I may not have been rooting for him during the Izzy fights, I still liked watching him fight.
Yeah.
And you could see the decline after, especially when he missed weight for the Vittori fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like a part of him was just kind of like, oh, maybe his heart wasn't in it, or I don't know. Who the fuck am I to know? But I do know, and he's even come out and tweeted about it, like he needs to bring the old Paulo back. And
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I think that Paulo could be champion. But he's got to grind. He's got to really bite down on his mouth guard and just fucking remember who he was. I feel like a lot of his problem right now is lack of self-belief. Because, bro, the Costa that fought Yoel Romero, the Costa that fought Uriah Hall, these Costas prior would have knocked out Luke Rockhold.
Oh yeah. Yes, I agree. And that was an old man, Luke Rockhold.
Yeah.
Old
And
man.
old Paulo would have beat Marvin Vettori.
I agree.
Because that motherfucker doesn't move his head.
I agree. And to me, the middleweight division is the most. It kind of is like the heavyweights, where it's like it's the most open that it's been in years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because obviously Izzy had his reign, other than Alex, but like it's just so open right now. Because like you were saying, how he got caught by it from Izzy. Robert Whitaker was in that same spot. He got countered bad, and I'm a pretty big Robert Whitaker fan. I would
First
say,
round.
yeah, it was first round, and it was a bad knocker. He's like leaning back and just boom, flush left hook. And Robert even had his own little skid. I mean, I know now he's kind of found his footing. It's like 3 or 2 fights win streak.
Shout out Robert Whitaker.
Yeah, his performance the other night was
He's
great.
just like Dustin Poirier in the way that he's never lost 2 in a row. Did you know that?
Oh, that's awesome. See, and I do remember
Robert Whitaker is a fighter's fighter.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I remember him on Tough. He was on like the first like British or European one when they were really trying to expand, doing like the Brazil and stuff. That was like the only one that I watched, and Robert Whitaker was the only one I liked, and he happened to become world champion at some point.
And you look at the people he's lost to, same as DP.
Yeah,
Fucking killers, bro.
killers, bro. I mean, he's fought. If you look at the middleweight division,
He's fought the who's who in the
I
middleweight
mean, dude,
division.
if you look at he fought Yoel Romero, dude, you can't tell me those fights didn't take something out of him, man. Like,
Absolutely.
dude, they were just wars that were grueling. He got fucking hit a lot by big, hard punches.
By a fucking tank of a human being.
Behemoth. And dude, he was like doing that when he was like 38 at the time.
And let's not, let's not forget.
It's crazy.
Yoel came to America late in his career.
Yeah.
Imagine if this man had came when he was like, if he was 25.
Dude, he would have dominated. There's no question.
That's a
about it.
terrifying human being. And I'll never forget when he shit himself too. Do you remember that?
I do. Did you ever see when he fought Kennedy? Did you watch that fight? That was a great fucking
I don't
fight.
remember.
That is such an underrated fight. The stool gate. It's when Yoel he got fucking badly. He's like wobbling against Cage.
And they didn't, and
And
like,
he sat on the stool for like
Yeah,
an
yeah.
extra 20 seconds.
yep.
Dude, that was insane. And Kennedy's like, "What are you doing? Like, get him up." And then obviously Royal was able to recover and he put him away.
Knocked him out.
But man, I totally agree. I know this is like fucking 5 years ago, but
Yeah.
like, man, I totally agree with Kennedy being like, if you cannot get up from the stool in your corner, that's essentially throwing in the towel.
Yeah, call the fight. I
That,
agree.
that ref, oh man, that ref should have been fined, or I think that is something that should be
Bad
more-
stoppage.
Well, it was a not
bad stoppage. Bad ref.
yeah, bad reffing, yes. Because I mean, bad stoppage is its whole other thing. And there's been plenty of cases of either people letting it go on too long or calling it too
Lawler
early.
versus Askren.
Yeah, that one still bugs me. I'm a huge Robbie Lawler's fan. You know what I mean? Like I've been recently rewatching his old fights, and
The Carlos Condit fights are fucking crazy, dude.
crazy fight.
I think those are underappreciated too. I feel like not a lot of fans talk about those.
Yeah, I agree. Well, dude, the first Robbie Lawler versus McDonald is insane, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's such a good fight, and Lawler only won because of that fight because of his power. he dropped him late in that the third round, and they just hopped on him. And this is when Lawler was fucking him. Like he was
Yeah.
coming out head kicking people. He's like throwing flying knees. I'm like, yeah, this is my boy. Train at ATT. Let's go.
Yep.
So it was awesome, bro. I love a lot of the old fights.
Yeah, dude, they're great fights, especially to go back to. One thing about the UFC, I know.
He's just being
Distracting.
adorable, bro. He went up on his hind legs like a little bunny.
Yeah. We're talking about my cat.
Yeah, the audience is getting restless.
Yeah.
We've been
I
going
think
for like
he's-
3
I
hours,
think
bro.
he sees a fly because he's just like,
Oh, is that what it is?
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I
anyways,
think that's a good place to call it, right?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right.
If you guys are new here, consider subscribing. We greatly appreciate it. Like I said, we post podcasts every week and clips in between.
Yeah. And thank you for letting us diddle our way into your lives like the uncle that you don't talk to anymore.
Yo, okay. We'll leave it off on that. Have a good night. Bye.